You all set, Chrissy?
Yeah.
All right. You please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, welcome everybody in this. Fletcher, is that you? How you doing, bud? Good to see you. Huh?
I can stand up and take nourishment.
Attaboy. You look good. Okay, so. Let's see. We need to schedule the interviews for the planning board and ZBA applicants
Yes, we had two applicants for the ZBA
for the secretary
Yes.
position. Okay.
and I'd like to see if you guys would like to interview them, if you'd like to set that up.
And you had the preliminary interview last
Yeah.
Thursday.
I had one today and yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to make copies, but if you guys just want to see
So they
them,
passed the muster?
I think so, yeah.
Then, okay. Here, you guys want to look through it.
When were you thinking, Chrissy?
Whenever you guys are available, they both have availability tomorrow, mid-morning and Friday afternoon. Or we could push it to next week. I know I'm kind of rushing
Next
this
week
week.
is kind of
Yeah, I'm away
busy
till
for some of us.
Which is,
I'm away till it's like
So-
7, but that's okay. They can, as long as they can, a couple of them
You
can do
ready?
it.
They're ready tomorrow, the next day.
yeah, it's getting a little
Okay.
tough with Kristen
Yeah.
training in the
Mhm. Okay, so
clerk, training Heather and then being upstairs.
It's
So,
okay with me. You want to do Friday?
what time Friday?
1 o'clock, I'll see if they both should be available. Sound good?
Fine. You good? at
Yes, I can do
I,
what?
I can hopefully be there.
work? So 1 o'clock Friday.
Okay, I'll just confirm and let you guys know.
So one would be 1 o'clock and then the other at 1:30.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, the public hearing on the 2024 budget is still open. Are there any questions? Any comments on our end? Any questions on our end from the public?
Guys like paying taxes? Raise your hand, say no.
Folks, if you call it down,
Okay. Is everybody comfortable with the closing a public hearing? Okay, would
Yeah.
somebody make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mike, second, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, a motion to approve the budget for 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Mike, second,
I'll second.
Leslie, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay. And a motion to open the public hearing on a proposed overlay district.
I'll make that motion.
Joe, second,
Second.
Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing is now open. Any questions from the floor?
So basically what's changed from the last public hearing is recommendations from the Dutchess County Planning that the light standards are 4,000 to 3,000. Is that
Lower
lower
down,
down?
which is
And
also a
then-
recommendation from the CAC as well.
Okay.
Right.
And then also one other thing, the main entrance, we have it in the text for it to be off of 44, 343 instead of College Lane. So they have to enter from the main roadway instead of the back roadway. Back roadway will be for emergency egress. That covers it?
Yeah.
Is that any-
Well, emergency
any-
egress and
and
deliveries. Yeah.
Deliveries as well? Okay.
That's in that, yeah.
Okay.
If you're having a public hearing, the speaker could just speak their name. Put out a record.
Yep,
And maybe address too.
And up,
Yeah.
Can you just say that again? You say 343 and 44?
yes, so 343 because of the other site across from Bennett.
So that will make it under what, like 82 or on the 343?
It's,
Yeah,
it's
the
all,
other one
it's
is
the vault
between-
rate, so
yeah,
any state road,
82,
it's not a
44,
residential road.
and then 343. 343, I think, confuses everybody because there is another site over there across from Bennett between the monument and the traffic light
So that has to do what again? I'm sorry, can you do that again?
entrance. Like you cannot have a back entrance.
Right, so it may have to be 44 or something.
Yes,
And then the-
slash 82. Yes, yes. If they chose to
So
do
they'd be
that.
allowed, it'd still have to
Yeah.
be reviewed by the planning board.
Exactly. So,
Things like traffic, bridge weight, all those sorts of things, width of the road, all those
Right.
things have to be approved and reviewed once there is a proposal, if there is a proposal.
if
in the
there is,
planning
right,
board.
exactly. So that's what's changed from the last public hearing to now, which is why we're entering a new public hearing. I wanted to address those issues that came up. So. I guess we'll take comments from. the
Yeah,
public
Go
hearing.
ahead, sure.
John Oberzak, 75 College Lane. Now, just curious, obviously, everyone knows the issue with College Lane, why you couldn't also have deliveries. I get the emergency egress, you got it gated for emergencies, whatever. You could also have the deliveries coming off of 82 as well, being a main road versus a small road like College
See,
Lane.
I'm kind of confused at that as well, but I don't see why, here again, that would come up in the planning process with, the developer. If there is anything in the public hearing, you could ask that. You could,
But you guys are who's making the new law.
we're allowing for the overlay district to have that option.
Yeah.
And then the planning board decides based on
Yes.
the application of what they're suggesting to go there, because
Right.
if it was a house, it would be able to enter there, it's their property, and they'd be able to get Amazon deliveries and postal deliveries
Sure.
and things like that.
Oil.
So, oil, the things that all residents get on
Right.
College Lane. So, but the traffic concerns, what we did in changing that for the concerns that you all voiced last
Yeah.
time was so that you don't have traffic coming up your driveway that's unreasonable or out of
Right.
step with
You don't
what a
have-
residence would have.
In other words, the guests, 40 get or whatever, cars coming back, and that wouldn't happen.
Now, could you also change it to the point where it's only for emergency and all deliveries also come up from 82? If you're changing the law,
You can do that, but if there's an oil truck on College Lane,
yeah.
why wouldn't you allow them to just keep going?
But there's also.
Do you see what I mean? So that's,
Pepsi truck or,
But
you know.
But
I mean,
then things like that. And I hear you. I
Yeah.
hear planning
Yeah.
so
with,
John, it depends on the
Planning.
application. So there's no application now. We're just, it's,
but you see my point, like to
Yeah.
say that, delivery is okay, Amazon
Yeah.
is
No, I
delivering
get
to,
it. Sometimes in
couldn't
the
they just
wording,
outright-
you
know what I mean?
loopholes can get very large in a word.
you know what I mean? Yes. So,
John also a comment that, during planning process, when a commercial application comes up, the public usually has plenty of say
Okay,
in that. So, that would be the time where you would ask the questions. How many deliveries per day are you gonna get? What size trucks are they?
Yeah.
And that's where an application by the guy to do whatever he's gonna do
sure.
gets scrutinized to that point. But for us to say you can't have a UPS truck or it's,
Yeah, no, I get like the
yeah,
example with fuel oil, I get that.
yeah. I mean, I see trucks on College Lane, delivery trucks, fuel oil
But-
trucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, but it's the volume. I
Yeah,
understand the
yeah,
volume.
The volume, yes.
Right, I understand the volume. And that's where you go to the planning board if there's an application that comes in front of it. We don't know.
So, excuse
Look, Nate, and then-
My name is Robert Tompkins.
I know.
So what you're saying is at this point, you're granting access for deliveries and there's no way that you could renege on it if he had said, okay, now I'm having tractor trailers come in here as, you know, Ginsburg as an example. I've never seen them in a Amazon truck. I've only seen them in tractor trailers.
Yes, you can renege on that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There's qualifiers in the
You
code.
can come and you can bombard the planning board and say, and they would, I'm almost certain, would listen. I mean, I can cite,
Don't think. you're
I
not
can
gonna
cite, I can cite Migdale as an example, right? We've all been through that, right? And what happened? It didn't even come before the planning and it's all like, you know, so I'm telling you that your concerns, they will listen to them,
Yeah, here's a hypothetical.
you know?
Tonight, I guess you'd say there's an egress there.
Yeah.
And also for commercial trucks, however you want to put it, to come through that little driveway or whatever you call it. Now, at the time the gentleman finishes the place and does everything, and makes it beautiful, and starts having his clients come in and whatnot, he starts getting deliveries. As an example, he gets Amazon trucks, 5
Yeah.
Amazon trucks a day and
No.
tractor trailers.
Yeah,
maybe
One
it is.
tractor trailer.
Yeah,
And he comes back in front of the planning board at what point to say, okay, I'm open for business? Or he
Oh,
comes.
no, before he can do anything,
prior to any approval,
right before he can
prior
turn a
to-
screw up there.
prior to excavation, prior to
Okay.
any of that.
But at that point, it doesn't, where the trucks, traffic flow, we're not talking about at that point, we're talking about exact.
Oh, you'd be talking about that too. That'd be whatever his plans are. So let's say I buy the place and I want to put a hotel and a restaurant in. I have to go in front of the planning board. And those are all the issues, the things that he has to answer.
Just traffic flow kind of is,
Right, and
Yeah.
absolutely, it's like one of the primary things. Plus, you know, he can't build it too high,
right.
that the fire company can't,
Requirements of-
right, you know, it's gotta be accessible for the fire trucks. He's gotta put numbers together, he's gotta have engineering plans, and you get to see all of that.
Yeah.
The public, whoever's interested in it can come and see all of that
And one other question.
and comment on it.
Thank you. And one other comment, that where the cul-de-sac ends and that driveway, road, whatever you want to call it, is that considered part of the road of College Lane? Or is that
I don't
considered
think so.
actually a driveway?
That's a driveway. That's part of their property.
Their property.
That's part of the property on that lot. If you look at the
Well,
lot.
Daytop
line-
now, I guess, still.
Yeah.
Daytop still.
It's several houses up there. So that's.
No, until you get to the bottom of the cul-de-sac of that driveway, that is,
When you go to the end of the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
two houses up there, 109 and 102.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is that a road or is that a driveway or is that just, you know, the people that live there access it because it's Daytop's driveway and nobody uses it? I mean,
Well,
I'm just curious.
So,
109 is not access from Daytop.
What's that?
It has its own. No, it's not. 109 has its own. You right off the side, and you may have to go in there a little bit, but it is their driveway. We don't plow it.
No,
We don't.
I'm asking, yeah.
We don't, I'm gonna explain, we don't keep any maintenance on that at your cul-de-sac and down through, that's it.
So the cul-de-sac is the end for the town to plow,
That's it.
and that driveway then
They
is.
do not plow the driveway or their road.
that's private property.
Cul-de-sac, at the cul-de-sac, that's considered someone's driveway, I guess.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying. Whose driveway is that?
Whoever has the property ownership right now.
Does anybody know that? I mean, it's just the two people that have.
It's the people that used to own Daytop still own it, that
Like a
they still own it.
They may have.
They might have an easement to get to their driveways, yeah. It's
So
the same as
itself
the
that
front.
will have to chain
Yeah.
across, or has to chain across, or could have to chain across.
yeah,
That's part of the property design of the current location.
Okay,
Now, it has come to our attention that there are some people accessing that for a quick access down to 44,
people have been doing that for,
and that technically would cease once a new owner was to take that and block that road. But the concept of the overlay right now is that that will be an emergency entry and exit, and right now allowable deliveries, but then
for commercial delivery.
for commercial deliveries, but then that all goes through. Whoever purchases the property may take a look at it and say, I have an access capability somewhere else on my property. and maybe never even use that other than
Yeah,
it's.
that's not gonna
it's-
happen.
Why would you say that? Why would you say someone from 44 coming into is gonna go all the way around and then come out? Why would you say
Well,
that?
we're talking about
We're talking about the delivery aspect.
Yeah, you are.
But
They
there-
can come up with it too, they're not gonna come down.
I didn't hear.
But Robert, during
Okay,
the,
so
during
maybe,
the
right.
application process, before anything can occur, there will be a whole group of steps that will have to go before planning. And that's all public information. They lay the plans out on the table, people have an opportunity to look at
And
them.
all things
And
like
question
size,
everything.
yeah, because I
And
remember,
we won't be,
yeah,
the planning board won't be the only people involved in that because there is access out onto a county road. They'll be involved.
So,
That's okay. We'll still be here.
Yeah.
That's really a,
say though, I don't.
that's a
think-
state road though, Mike.
Well, the state will be involved too.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think a tractor trailer could even make it onto that little road, making, I think we all know
And
that.
the other thing too, they'll look at the planning board, if someone was to have an engineer look at that little bridge at the bottom that we had some difficulty with a couple of years ago that washed out a little bit. They'll look at that, the width of the road. During construction on some of your new houses up on College, because I walk up there quite regularly, there were some flatbed trucks that were bringing some pretty big timber up there. But it's not the constant,
Right.
and that's what would be brought up in a planning board review also.
Because one of my original worries too was even if it wasn't deliveries, but it wasn't chained, gated, whatever. We've all been late to work before, right? So if, let's just say one of the employees of the hotel or restaurant is on that side of town, South Road 82, what have you, and they're running late, you know where they're gonna go. They're gonna come ripping through College Lane to get to work faster than go all the way out and around to save from being late.
Well, if
Well,
the
That's
gentleman,
a concern of mine.
if the gentleman or lady or any, goes through planning and they say you can't use that road at all except for emergency use, and they start using it,
Well,
then you have to police it.
Oh,
but
And we'll police it
There's
also,
ways to
but
get
then
around it, though.
we have to put a stop to it, and
This-
they're gonna have to
this-
put a
this-
gate up
okay,
or something.
yeah, and that's what, I would be concerned if it's open to deliveries and it's not closed.
fine.
Like I said, we've all been there. We're late to work. They drive fast. They come flying up College Lane, so they're not in trouble for being late.
Mhm.
They go the back way because nobody won't see them. And then there's little Johnny riding his bike as they come flying around the corner.
And depending on who the potential owner is, or if anyone steps up to develop that property, the technology now, particularly where everybody's very sensitive about intrusion onto properties,
Yeah.
those electric eye gates and so on. You see them
Yeah.
in most hotels, motels, even in the front entrances.
Yeah,
now.
true, true.
Right.
That would definitely be a good idea.
One final question, as an example, if that bridge has to be redone, whose responsibility is that? Is that the towns or is that?
It depends on what it needs to be redone for.
Why would it be redone?
For heavier loads?
oh, no,
Heavier load would
We
be
wouldn't-
prohibited prior to
Yeah.
giving
Yeah,
permission.
we wouldn't redo it.
Unless it was
Allow.
deemed unsafe by like
Yeah.
the county.
Is there a weight requirement for that bridge?
Probably a pickup truck.
Joe
Those are
could
the
answer.
kind of Questions that the planning board would have to understand, once they understand.
The
what
bridge at the bottom of
It's
College
all
Lane.
Well, it's structurally sound, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
But, I don't know that there is a weight limit. One could be applied, but, it could restrict other vehicles also. So you want to be careful.
Yeah, like oil trucks, you
Yeah,
want to be able to
like
get oil deliveries.
Yes, sir.
Fletcher Coddington, couldn't you just designate College Lane as a private road? That's available to residents only?
I'm not sure about it. I don't think so.
But I
though.
believe if you designate a private road, so I'm familiar with one, then the residents are responsible for the maintenance of that road. The plowing, the blacktopping, the edging, the bridge. You want to try and be very careful of that.
Like, I live on
Snow
the College Lane,
plow,
there's a weight limit. 3,000 pounds or 3 tons or something. If you throw a weight limit on the road now, then it would force whomever is gonna buy this property to put in a road capable of carrying the load of the delivery trucks.
Mhm.
But like I said, you're excluding possibly vehicles that the people on College Lane need. Oil trucks. Truck carrying cement block for a foundation, wood, et cetera,
But
and
the point,
to make that leap just to obstruct.
Well,
them
no, the
from
point
going in.
I'm trying to make is that you can be on 9 Partners Lane over 3,000 pounds for local delivery. But if you stipulate that local delivery has to do with permanent residents, then the daily traffic of semi trucks and big garbage trucks and stuff like that could be limited coming off Route 82 or Route 44.
Again, I think to let you know, that would be a good,
I think it- 'cause it's not-
restriction that the planning board would,
be-
could
Right,
put.
I'm just mentioning.
Yeah.
it to get
Yeah.
it out on the record.
Any other questions or concerns? Yes,
Another question.
Yeah.
The, map that you get on the back of the thing that you shipped out about, this meeting, the overlay district is black from Pleasant Valley to Old 82. And it says that's the overlay district. With the overlay district, just these 3 separate parts.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
It should be red, Fletcher, here. I've got a copy.
Oh, that's okay.
No, if you want to see it, no, but if anyone wants to see it, there's 3 different locations and you can see it might have just not been a color copy that was,
Oh, I know the area.
Okay. but no, I just didn't know if anyone wanted to see it, but if it was unclear on the website.
Also, there's one other thing, where the Cottonwood Inn, property is floodplain.
Yeah, the cottonwood, there's very sensitive water around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. In 1955, the Cottonwood Inn, basement was underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
So then.
And that's, but that's already, that's still a commercial property.
All that.
Yeah.
We couldn't get
Yeah.
off this property for
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Like, didn't we go through that in the village itself as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a nasty flood.
right,
I remember it well.
Not a lot of water here.
yeah.
You had a question.
Yes, hi, I submitted a letter, I don't know that you received it. My name is Susan Mancuso, and
Yes.
I submitted a
Yes.
letter to town clerk. And I'm just, I'm a village resident, a resident of town too. I also have a business here in the village, in the commercial center of the town. And, I'm an attorney, I've been a municipal attorney, I was a town attorney. I was in Mr. Gastoni's position out here in this town, obviously. And, but I'm not here as a hired gun, I'm here on my own accord because, I've reviewed the law and zoning code and comp plan, and I'm here as a concerned citizen. And I was really, concerned when Migdal happened. And I really commend the town board for going through the comp plan update. And, I'm just frankly shocked to see that this law is the outcome of the process. You've got 11 parcels here on these 3 districts. And, if I understand the law correctly, you tell me if I'm wrong, but your law allows 20 guest rooms per property. And so if there's 11 properties, and since you don't define property, I think we can say that perhaps it's synonymous, parcels and properties. That potentially is 220 guest rooms.
Well, we're talking about,
No, it's per overlay district.
District.
It doesn't say that. It does not say that. Your law says per property.
Well, this law was actually drafted by Nan Stolzenberg, who does this for a lot of municipalities. And so it is per overlay. The only difference in room size is where there's adaptive reuse for an existing structure.
If
Yeah.
I just think you should look at the text of the law. Because the law says per property, does not say district. So that means.
Property means the overlay. So if there's something there that we need to tweak.
It's not defined, and I don't think that any reasonable interpretation will interpret that as per district. They're 2 different things, and that's not a lawyer. But I'm just saying, you want.
No, but Nan worked with a lawyer out of Westchester that helped draft the report, who has great experience in this area. So I appreciate it. And we'll certainly look at it, Susan, if you want to tell us which,
Sure, I mean, I'll be
Clause,
to, I think that, I actually mentioned in my letter. But so I think if that's what you intend, you need to nail that down.
Yeah.
But so.
Yeah. It says per property,
says in
within the overlay.
Within the overlay,
Well, what does that mean within the overlay?
within the overlay district.
For which you can.
Well, actually, that's actually purposeful. So I'm glad you raised it because where the Cottonwood is, there are two parcels. There's the parcel where the training center is, and there's the parcel where the inn is. The inn already has 20 rooms.
Right.
So we discussed that, and the committee discussed it, that if the person who bought the Cottonwood wanted to put adaptive reuse or put rooms, 20 rooms in that particular space, that's where the Millbrook Training Center is, they could feasibly do that. Daytop is one parcel. And then these other smaller ones across from the Bennett could each have, presumably, if somebody would want to build 20 rooms, but you have to, there's setbacks, these are really small parcels. So that was considered. And that's actually purposeful, I think, in the case with the Cottonwood.
I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
If that's the case. But there's nowhere in whatever the town board has presented, land-wise, they've not said that the maximum build out is on
Yes, they did. It's 40 rooms.
Where?
Was actually discussed and changed. I'll find it. But only under the adaptive
Yeah, I remember
reuse
that.
clause. You can't build that.
What
So
they're saying is this.
Because
is that
Daytop already has, the idea there was that structure already has 37 rooms
I understand.
and the
No,
infrastructure to support it. So it says,
9A says never exceeding 40.
okay. 9A.
No, but what the point is that I'm making is not that in my law, is that in your FEAF, you give no analysis of the maximum build-out potential of this. And you're required to do that. The position that you are taking in your FEAF is that you do not have to perform that analysis because this is not an action. And that's not true. This is an action, and this is an action as a rezone that requires you to determine what the environmental impacts would be for this property and its maximum build out. If you're suggesting, it sounds like what you're suggesting is that the maximum build out would be 120 guest rooms, 40 units or 40 rooms per overlay district, correct?
No,
That's not,
because there's no application for that, Susan.
It doesn't matter. You have to establish what the hypothetical maximum build out is for your proposed zoning. And then you may have to do a GEIS, a generic environmental impact statement, to analyze them. You've got two of these districts that are located on
Yeah.
aquifers. And
Yeah, who have existing commercial properties currently running.
well, they're residentially zoned and.
Well, no,
but it
there's
doesn't
actually
matter.
an active special use permit for the Cottonwood is right now.
Or not, the fact is that you have a zoning proposal before you, where you have something that's zoned residential. It's going to be converted into a potential commercial use. You have to perform a hard look of the maximum development, under maximum development potential circumstances, what the environmental impacts would be. And if there are going to be adverse environmental impacts, such as.
How can you do that? Excuse me, without having an application in front of you?
Because we're doing it right now.
no.
Leslie has just said to me, excuse me, you asked the question, I want to answer it.
Sure.
Leslie has just said that what could happen is there could be 40 units here and 40 units
No, I
there.
did not say that. It's only adaptive reuse that you can do for, you cannot have
But the
any
point
new
is
builds
that-
with more than 20 rooms.
So what I'm saying is that you
So that's not
Town board
exactly what I
have
said.
to have some idea as to what the build out is. You're saying it could be 40 units a day top, maybe 40 units, or maybe not 40 units.
That's not what it says, Susan. That's not what I said, and that's not what it says. It said for adaptive reuse, for an abandoned building that already has 37 rooms,
Right.
it's only for adaptive reuse. It's not for a new
I
build.
understand.
Okay, so that's not, okay, so I don't, maybe I'm not following your math then,
Right.
but I appreciate this. I think that, Nan is the one, along with the Westchester attorney, who sort of laid out the steps for this, and Jeff. So, you know, we thank you for your feedback, and we'll, you know, they actually were very particular about how the environmental, the FEAFs, and the steps of those, that paperwork being submitted and being reviewed. So I guess
Well, perhaps I'm not making myself clear. What I'm saying is this, and let's take an example. Let's take Daytop, for example. You're saying that there's 37 rooms, and let's say you have some idea, your consultants and your advisor have some idea as to the potential number of guest rooms that are possible. Let's say it's 37. So what you would do is, for that particular overlay, you would examine the maximum build out for that would be 37 guest rooms, plus the hotel, plus the spa, plus the fitness gym.
Why can't you just understand that 37 is the maximum?
Because
that-
I don't know.
It is.
Well, then-
You don't say 37 rooms plus a hotel, plus that.
I said,
It-
plus, I'm sorry, but plus a restaurant that deals with the accessory uses that are allowed in their law. And that's. what I'm
and actually,
saying.
those are the accessory uses that were recommended and the people said they wanted in the report in those particular areas. So
But I'm saying something else. I don't think I'm making.
I
myself
understand the environmental
What I'm saying
assessment.
is this.
I understand that.
Design your law for whatever purpose and wherever you're going to put it. You have to, as a board, you have an obligation to figure out what the maximum build out would be. And then you have to analyze the environmental impacts. You cannot say, we don't have an obligation to do this because we're just adopting a law and we're not passing a specific project. That's what I'm saying. So however you.
But what you keep saying that we have, what law are you pointing to that says that would happen
The state environmental conservation law.
before there's an application,
Yeah,
hypothetical?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. If you look at the secret handbook, you will see, this is called a direct action. It's a type of zoning that's done like often zoning is done, and where an applicant requests a rezone like Middale wanted in conjunction with their site plan and subdivision, whatever they were going to do. This is something where you, the town board, as lead agency, you're making this decision by yourself without a specific application that we know of. And therefore, you have the obligation to figure out what this would look like as a maximum build out and evaluate the environmental impacts on that basis.
I see,
I don't see it either.
to me, that's putting the cart before the horse.
It's not. I'm trying to tell you that it's not. It's required. The only thing you don't have in your law is you have not considered the affordable housing requirements that you need to under town law, the state town law, 261-B. This is an incentive zoning law. These are residential districts, and you have to consider what's happening to the affordable housing aspects of this. I mean, it's in my letter. Take a look at the section. I'm sure Mr. Bassoni and your other legal consultants can advise you on it, but you're required to do that. And also, too, this is just inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. I know you're.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be argumentative, but affordable housing, and these are abandoned, this is an abandoned building,
It
so
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with why you're obliged to do that. Take a look at 261-B, and you will see that because this is incentive zoning, you have to examine what the impacts are for affordable housing, whether affordable housing is gained or lost as a result of the amenities that are being granted in this law.
No, but don't you, but actually, that affordable housing is usually triggered depending on the size of your town. So
Take a look at it. If I make,
Like,
I just,
there
I
are-
don't think that's the case.
So Jeff,
I
is,
do think that that's a case.
is there anything you can help us
Check
out?
out what she's saying.
Okay, so, excuse
Yeah.
Kevin, hold on.
Kevin, we've been
Yeah.
at this for 2 years and we have a really, really experienced consultant who's been helping us. So I really appreciate.
Jeff,
This
is there
feedback, and
anything you
we're-
can help
we're
us
talking
out
about
with
it.
based on what Susan is explaining to
I know
us?
you're anxious to adopt this tonight.
That's okay. We don't have to. If there's something new.
Soon regarding the culvert project.
Yes,
So you could add a second thing to that agenda. I could look at the build out analysis argument being made.
Okay.
And I could look at the affordable housing argument being made.
And let's do that.
Advice on that. It would
Yep.
Yeah.
delay you that long.
that's
Fine.
fine. That's
there's
fine.
no-
There,
you know.
there is not a, I'm telling you, we have to do this the right way. Okay? All right,
And I'm so glad to hear that, because I have one other point that's vital, and that is in your environmental analysis, one of the things that you should be doing is using the natural resources inventory. Your comprehensive plan, the one that you adopted, said that the natural resource inventory is a critical element to use in your land use decision making.
Mhm.
So you guys are
Yeah.
running totally blind by not having it. You guys have a draft one. You could, so you're probably poised to have your final one adopted. And you also get certain maps available to you right now that obviously you're not taking into account, like your aquifer map and your, rare species habitat map. Because.
so I beg to differ on that. I beg to differ. We've worked very hard. Okay, the comprehensive plan review shows all that. Okay,
But
We've
that's
worked-
not.
we've worked hard on it.
When you're.
yes, we did.
Well, you're not.
Yes, we did.
Susan,
You're not
the,
doing your analysis.
the Cottonwood is already a hotel.
It's
It's already
already
operational
existing
and grandfathered
and
in.
it's
So
so,
I appreciate that. Now, if there's a build out or it expands, the wetlands and everything else that are happening there they would have to make an application and they would have to address all of those concerns.
Well, if that's, no, I think that you guys have to address that now with this law. And that's great, but just address it with the natural resources inventory. And then if you're saying this is the maximum build out, that you guys are not going to be touching anything further and so you can then be assessing the environmental impacts based on that. But, part of the reason that I'm like doing this is we don't have any information. If I get this information, I was speculating about
That's fine.
440 gas rooms.
okay,
Yeah, that's not our reading, but we certainly appreciate your feedback and we'll do research on it and
that's all.
have another
We
meeting.
will. So is there anybody else?
Yeah.
Mr. Tompkins,
I'm wondering, what are you people proposing from an environmental point of view? Where's the water gonna come from to sustain this new facility?
Yeah.
Because up in the end of that area, we have
yeah, okay,
some
so
3-4 houses on single wells
Yes.
that are down the
Oh,
road.
this is not something that we are doing specifically. We are doing an overlay district. Now, if the overlay district gets passed and somebody wants to develop that property, ask that question at the public hearing.
You should have
figured
that answer out by now.
No, we should not have. No, we should not have.
There
It is
there
true.
is water, there is water there is septic there. We know that from the person that has already examined it with their engineer. It was able to support a 37-room rehabilitation center with toilets and people living there. And so they would have to answer those questions because this is
Whatever new
very- by the way,
proposal
somebody
they're
wants
offering.
to make it into a
It
house.
takes a long time, but
Yeah.
there's no water up there.
And if there isn't,
Robert.
and Mr. Tompkins, if there isn't any water in there and a proposed development wants to, and there's no water, well, then they can't do it.
Just that,
Simple as that,
set the stage here a little
you
bit.
know?
They talked when they were there, they were bringing tractor trailers of water off. Parking on the premises,
Okay,
pumping water. They also dug hole after hole after hole all over there with no success finding
Okay.
water. unless the village of Millbrook is gonna supply city water up there.
No.
No.
No, but
Absolutely not.
There's no
So,
water up there, guys. None.
yeah.
Where they pump it today.
If this in fact has been going on and the developer know or does not know about this and finds out, well then, okay, decisions will be made then. They can't do it.
Are you aware also, what do they do use up there? They pump from South Road. Down South Road, you go out of College Lane, maybe go down 500 feet, 600 feet, I don't know. On the right going down, there's a road going in. And they pump water from the swamp up, across, backwards, frontwards, wherever it goes through the woods. It finally comes out at the Daytop driveway there.
Okay.
The cistern.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes underneath all of our properties and goes up.
The cistern where it sits there.
Well,
There's no water up there. So
so
they try.
I'm
to
sure this is, how do I want to say?
It's a long,
No.
long time, but
No,
it's trying to build
But-
it for the middle of the country, you know?
but if there's any proposed developer that did or did not know about this, well,
And the town also, we also retain our
Yes, sir.
own consultants when there are projects, so we would have our own independent opinion about that and understand. So, and the applicant has to pay for that. And we select those consultants.
What would be your guess on the number of gallons of water a facility like that would require on a daily basis?
I couldn't guess.
I
No
couldn't
idea.
guess.
I'm not an engineer.
More than a few gallons, I guess. Oh, well. Wrong time, wrong place.
No, I don't think it's fine. Go ahead.
Hi, Dominic.
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to get some clarification. So I'm just looking at the map. I just want to know where the daytop on those three sections of the overlay, where the daytop.
You have Bramble Hill on your map?
I have them all.
Yeah.
Them up there?
Do you have?
Yeah, bring it up here.
Yeah.
Oh, so you are. Yes, hi, my name's Dominique Albano. I'm with Whiteman, Austin and Hannah. I'm just trying to get some
Sure.
clarification here. Oh, perfect. You got it right there. So which one is daytop? It's that one in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay. And then is the cottonwood is over there? Okay.
The one across from that.
You're making this. And there's nothing, there's no
Yeah, that's.
hospitality use in this.
No, those are just, those are empty.
Those are
lots.
empty. That's what I thought. Okay.
Well,
And this is a good.
Or maybe there's a house on.
there's a house.
Oh, no, I meant empty in the sense of, I should repeat, no hospitality use on them right now.
No,
No,
Just this one.
So
just that one.
since the cottonwood is already here,
Yeah.
no other
Could we all see what
hospitality
you're
use.
doing?
Hold on. I can start. Since the cottonwood is already here,
Yeah.
you're saying that since it's maximize the amount of units that can be in this hospitality district,
Mhm.
no other inn or lodging facility could go in this area.
I'm sorry, can you say your question again?
So since the cottonwood is already in this overlay,
Yeah,
another hospitality unit, use can't be in this overlay. Or are you saying, I think that,
well, so right now, that is zoned residential with the exception of the fact that because that commercial entity keeps going, their permit is, they still have a special use permit,
Okay.
so they're still operating a hotel.
right, yeah,
Right now there. So is your question, could someone else purchase that?
not the cottonwood, another property. This isn't just one, right? Or is it one lot?
No, it's two
Two
lots.
lots.
Two lots,
Yes.
okay,
Separated by a road.
separated by a road.
Ownership, both sides.
Okay, and the cottonwood owns both.
Yes,
Okay, now I understand. Okay, so do you know how many parcels are on this?
that's one parcel.
One parcel, and then this one is three?
Those are three tiny parcels,
Okay.
yeah.
Understood.
So but with that, because, so this is would be in the adaptive reuse category.
Yeah,
The Millbrook Training Center would be two,
yeah,
if they wanted to use that.
right.
Otherwise, if they knock that down as their one overlay, because it's that one part of the district, it would just be the 20 rooms. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
adaptive
understand.
reuse gives the,
There's also, now that I understand that it's only this one lot, this two lots owned by one owner,
yeah,
and then these three small individual lots.
yes.
It doesn't have the capacity to have three separate, so totally,
Well, I guess that's a section. That's an area that's an empty spot across from, people wanted hospitality right next to the village. That's the why that that was one of the areas that the residents identified.
Right.
I don't, because of setbacks and the size of these lots, I don't think that anyone could come in and build a 20-room
I
in
don't-
any
I
of
don't
these
think so.
parcels.
It wouldn't be parked.
Yeah, so, you know,
So even, so say they were all adaptive reuse.
Excuse me, someone's talking, so.
No, actually,
You wanna hear?
Could you explain
What was asked, what was asked, the attorney was not familiar with where, what,
What's the attorney for? Who's she represent?
I'm an
Just
attorney
calm
for
down,
property owner
everybody.
in the town.
Calm down.
I don't need to
identified, she
disclose
I
that.
don't say that. I don't know who she represent. I was just trying to find out. That's a simple question.
Okay, sir. The tone is not necessary. My name is Dominique Albano. I work for Whiteman, Osmond and
I
Hannah.
heard that part.
You could look me up online. Okay, good. I work for a property owner who has a residential home in the area. I'm not a developer. Thank you. He will explain this.
Well, you're telling.
She was-
everybody else.
Come on,
Hey,
Kevin. That's
come on,
enough.
let's calm down,
That's
everybody
enough.
calm down. The young lady was asking because she was not
If it
familiar with. the
continues,
area.
if it continues, I'm just gonna shut down the public hearing.
She was not familiar with the area and she was questioning where the three properties were, particularly the one that was being discussed. We identified this for her, that this was the property that was now being talked about.
Is that not?
While she was asking, she wanted to know what this constituted down here as the other property, which is the Cottonwood. We explained that there's a road between it. There are actually two sides that are owned by the same owner. The exercise place to the left or right, if you're facing it, the Cottonwood to the left. And then the familiarity with the properties right across from that, which are three small properties, small pieces of property.
And so what's the big red line then?
This is
Daytime.
daytime.
Oh,
That is daytime. And that's a single, how did you define it?
It's single
it's
owner.
one parcel.
One parcel. That big one is one parcel.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Want that
thanks,
clarity.
Dominique.
What was the question?
I was just curious, it looks so big, it's more, how many acres is it?
Oh, how many, I'm not sure.
I think 20 or 30 acres.
40 maybe, I'm not sure.
Where?
The
Daytime.
daytop.
I remember looking at that thing on the side, but it was pretty big.
So
And it's
should we
mostly
close the
wooded.
public hearing until we have a chance to circle back on some of those
Yeah,
questions?
yeah, for sure. But I just wanted to give everybody a
If there's any
chance.
other comments.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
Do, but I can wait till it's done.
I mean, just one quick question, just, I know I've asked in the past, never get like the real answer. You're trying to do the three properties on the overlay district. Seems like two of them, nobody really has any concern with, but the daytop, we're all obviously concerned. Why can't, I don't know, but why can't you just take the daytop out and approve the two? Since no one really seems to care about the other two, just.
Well, I think.
So everything else is here, let's just.
Well, so John, I'll say, so there are owners that own, I guess this all started two years ago, right, with the proposal for another project. And coming out of that, there was a lot of public feedback that people want hospitality. And that's what the report showed overwhelmingly,
Right,
right? And they want it close to the village.
okay,
Because that's the commercial center and the businesses in the village want it.
yeah,
So while the Cottonwood has been purchased and it's been operational for some time, there is no application for any renovation or extension of that
Yeah.
project. Those owners have other commercial properties. Maybe they want to do it next year. Maybe they want to resell it. Maybe they don't want to do it at all. These empty lots, there's no plans that anyone here knows of for anything there.
yes, yeah,
There is interest, however, from someone who has experience in doing small boutique hotels for this particular property, right? And daytop, but
Yes.
again, we weren't, we're not suggesting this in response to that developer.
sure,
This was a site that was identified by the residents of this town when the consultant with a committee of people with a lot of different perspectives about hospitality in our town got together and they engaged the public for 18 months and produced this report. This was one of the places where the residents thought would be great because right now it's an abandoned building and it had been an inn and it had been a school. And so it has the infrastructure there and it's a beautiful old building and it seemed like a nice logical place. So if the goal for us as legislators and town board members is to help respond to the community's interest and desire to have hospitality to support our businesses and our residents. That's why we have these three separate. Now, the planning board, if there were 6 applications that came up, they at that time can say, you know what, there's too much hospitality, there's too much traffic, there's too much. So do you see what I'm saying? This is just
Oh, I
giving
get
the
that.
option so
Get
that
the
we're being
option, but it gets the foot in
responsive.
the door.
Yeah.
It gives option for the residents to have hospitality, which is how this whole exercise started. Does that make any sense?
It
And
does.
and even though the Cottonwood is owned, it's not, so that question about sequence, could we do one or not the other? We could be sitting for 15 years with the Cottonwood exactly as it is. And, or do you see what I mean? So
Yeah,
we're
right.
trying to make sure that we're being responsive and we're responding to a really long, well thought out process. And on the questions of the environmental issues and other things that came up with the sequence, if we need to do those assessments before, we will. That is not what was told to us by the people that we're working with, but we'll look into it. There's no reason why we can't
Right.
get that information before we move forward.
Right. All right, one more, Ed.
Hi, I'm Adelaide, Stanford Road. So I haven't been that involved in the details of the hospitality law itself, and I'm not a lawyer. But I was really excited with the CPRC process you guys did and the consultant and the big public, program for 2 years. And I think for me, it was sort of like all of that CPRC committee just disappeared suddenly and vanished. And then all of a sudden laws are coming out, and it feels like there's a disconnect between that big public process and what you're proposing now. And so, for instance, in the hotel law, like I thought that the community, correct me, I may be wrong, but this is a 300-page report, so it's there's a lot of stuff going on in the report. So I thought that residents said the Cottonwood and would be a great location where it is, and that's a grandfathered thing. It probably wouldn't be approved now because of the water situation. So there are all those environmental issues, but it was put there whenever it was put there, I don't know, 50s or so I thought that was the first one. And I remember in Nan's report that she suggested developing that one first and trying it out. What happened is I have this expectation that that's where you were going in the Cottonwood, but suddenly there's two other zones. And I think what the confusion is where is that coming from? I don't remember that.
So what it said in the final recommendations is that, that geographic area is absolutely outlined. It's Daytop, it's
I don't remember that.
college, it is described to the letter, and Nan went through it with us exactly.
Because I think Nan said at one point, just start with the Cottonwood.
She said a recommendation is that we could do that. And in talking with her through it, we discussed the fact that the ultimate goal is to respond to the community's concern and want for hospitality. There has been nothing happening with the Cottonwood. There is no plan for the Cottonwood. We don't know if they're even continuing with the Cottonwood. The person that was working there running the Cottonwood isn't running it anymore. So, the idea is to give the option to have the planning board respond to an application.
Right.
Just because there's an option there, Adelaide, doesn't mean that something's someone could buy Daytop and make it into a hotel.
No, I understand.
Those 3 empty lots will remain empty, but those were the 3 areas that people wanted. So while it was a recommendation, as she said, Nan, and I think next time we're definitely going to have Nan on so she can speak directly to this.
I feel like there's a big disconnect between what she did and presented for 2 years and what's happening now, for me.
Okay, I don't.
And I may be missing these details, but the point is there are people that feel that way.
Right.
So that's that's what you're seeing, and that's what's happening. People are going, wait a minute. And there are a lot of people that don't think that there was that much hospitality demand. There's a lot of comments in that report that say, we don't want to change anything. We want to.
There was a third of people that didn't want it. A third people didn't, and 2/3 did.
Yeah.
So that's how democracy works. And
I get it.
Yeah.
That's why we're here and talking, right?
Right. But there are people here and there are people that aren't here, right? And so we appreciate, I'm listening to the feedback, and I guess what I'm saying is that this is our second or third I mean, this public hearing was on obviously whatever people want to comment about, but we were responding to residents by changing it to address concerns over traffic and changing it based on the county's feedback about lighting.
Okay,
So
let me bring up a couple of the things. One of the things that I really, for me, because I've been an environmental advocate trying to protect water here. It's a lot of water in this town. It's a problem for some people. It's a blessing for others, right? It's a blessing, really. That means you have to protect, because you have these large parcels, you have these rich ecological zones here. You might, people get annoyed with the environmentalists, and I've taken a lot of that, but it's the blessing that this town has, right? And because you have 1,000-acre parcels, you have ecological wildlife richness that no other town, very rare in this, and some people have told me it's rare globally. I don't know about that, but I've heard that. It's rare, and I know from the wildlife that I've seen. So I've been trying to protect water for a long time. One of the things that really struck me about this process is when I read this CAC letter, and I'd like to put them in the record, again, give them to you quickly. And the copies of them, and their analysis of this law in August and September was really substantive. And I don't know what happened to those recommendations. I don't see any evidence of that. They asked they asked you to give them a consultant, and they were refused to analyze. And so peer review.
yeah, no, actually, Nan wrote a letter back to the CAC.
Right.
And she said in her experience, she has never had a CAC of any town, particularly one that's an advisory board, have their own consultants when the town has its own consultant.
Yeah, that's a disappointing answer from my perspective. I mean,
I'm just telling you what she told us, and she did write back to them and went through each of their particular points in that letter. So, and that letter was posted. So maybe you don't have that letter.
It is posted, but it's buried somewhere.
Okay, well, she did respond, or it was anyway, it was supposed to be posted, and I'm happy to provide it to you if you want
Okay,
to see
well, I
it.
just think that everyone should read the CAC letters, and I think that they know the environmental issues better than anyone, and I think that they should have been taken. I just don't see the evidence that they were taken very seriously. So about
Well, I think, for example, let's take their comment about the cottonwood and the sensitive water there, okay? And this is, I don't want to get into a long argument there, but that's an existing business. So no, at first, there's one argument here where people are saying, some people on the CAC even, we have to do the cottonwood first, then the other, and nothing else. And at the same time, they're saying you can't do anything at the cottonwood because there's water there, even though it's been an operating commercial entity.
It's a challenging environment.
It's absolutely, that's why I don't know how they're going to expand or do anything else.
Experts for that.
I totally agree. And when there's an application where they do anything different than what they're doing, they'll be brought in to opine on that. So that's, I guess, I guess realistically, I guess the option is we read their concern and the response back from Nan was when there's an application there for the cottonwood that involves anything beyond what's there right now, we'll have to deal with the environmental issues there. They might not be able to do anything at all.
Well, I think it kicks the can down the road, and there's a lot.
So should it shut down?
No.
Should we shut it down? Because that's what it is.
I think you do a lot more due diligence specifically.
To say what though, when you have no application from something that's already existing, should we go?
That Susan's talking about, you figure out what.
Well, we're gonna find out about that.
Worst case scenario, right? We plan for the worst and hope for the best. And I know everyone's getting annoyed because I'm talking about this.
Well, I just think there's a point of where it's like, what are we talking about? Because are we saying we want to shut the current cottonwood down? There's no application to do anything else there right now.
We're talking about.
So we're going to try to do an assessment of something that we don't even know what we'd be assessing beyond what's already there.
We're obliged to do the assessment of what the potential of this zoning could do. You are obliged to say what is the most. I think what I'm hearing.
And we said we're going to look into that.
Okay.
So,
but the environmental assessments, I don't think your FEAFs on both the STR law and this law are very incomplete. And so, you can say all you want about Nan, but I find that this work is really disappointing given the expectations that we had with her for 2 years now.
Well, the expectations are her work of a 300-page report that I think is very thorough. And
there's a lot of good stuff in it, but I don't think it all happened. I don't think it's reflected in these laws.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your feedback and I think the next time we have this public hearing or conversation, we'll certainly see if she needs to be here to provide some other
We'll have her here.
background.
have the CAC letters here. if anyone
We'll have the
wants one.
answers.
Yeah.
I have it.
Look at the questions.
One more.
I'd like to say one more thing. If you look at the 3 parcels across from Bennett, and the idea that you can put 40 bedrooms in there,
No,
No, no,
there's
no.
not enough room for a septic field for 20.
No, you can't budget.
Yeah, I know, I'm saying
Yeah.
there's not enough
Yeah.
room for septic field for
Yeah,
20
Yeah.
stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a very small unit across from Bennett College.
and right now you can have a 10-room, anything and that's what the current law allows.
I understand that,
Right,
but
and
I
I-
don't
but-
think that you're gonna find a water percolation.
right,
no,
with
no,
water
we're
and
saying
sewer.
this is not-
Probably won't, but
Yeah,
you're right.
you know, I don't think.
No,
you're
it
gonna
says
be able
up
get a
to, so
septic.
the
yeah.
law says up to, so
Yeah.
up to, so someone could put something for 5 rooms or 6 rooms or, yeah, you know.
But you're not gonna pass a perk test for that.
Yeah, sure, I mean, I would, and of course, because it says up to, we're not necessarily saying that anybody, I wouldn't want to build a 20, and there's setbacks, and that these are very small parcels
I'm
here.
saying that
Yeah.
Everybody else in the room, the one across from Bennett is gonna be small.
Okay. That's it. Thank you all for coming.
Nothing on this at all. I have another minor,
About what?
minor correction, possible correction on the lighting that you fixed sort of in here. It's
Yes.
still a little confusing to read. We've been working on the dark skies and the 3,000 Kelvin temperature, and it doesn't mention anything about four. So there's 2 ways to make it just read clear. I know what it says, and it will cover what you need to do, but it's very a little confusing, too many words in there and so on. The color temperature of the exterior lighting shall be 3,000 Kelvin or lower. And that would take care of the whole sentence there. Or you could go down to the very end of the sentence and remove the word generally avoided, and it says the same
But isn't
thing.
that for the planning board?
No, this is the code that
No.
you're writing.
No, well, thank you, Howard, why don't you show me your edits and we'll look at them if we're looking at the other things.
It says what it needs to say. It's just very confusing, and I'm suggesting a clearer edit so that when people look at it, they know exactly what you're saying. It's not a planning board issue.
Okay.
Okay, so I will send it to you, Leslie, or?
Yeah, sure,
or-
you can send it to me,
Whole board.
it's fine. Or send the whole board, either, whatever,
Whatever,
it's
okay.
fine.
All right. Thank you all for coming and you'll be hearing from us again for.
So what goes on? Do we close the plan hearing and then
We
reopen?
will close it.
Is that what goes on?
That's what we'll do. Yep.
And then,
Close it, you wanted to hold another one, you'd have to
Yeah.
advertise for it.
Right.
right,
No, let's leave it open.
Well, we don't know how long it's going to be though. I mean, you can't leave it open forever.
Right, you're not leaving
No.
it open to it next
No.
5
but,
days.
but if we're waiting for you on feedback on some of the questions that were raised, would that happen that we would have to have the other meeting on the culvert? Could that be a conversation then? And then we would schedule a public hearing for December, or? What is your recommendation on
Probably
that?
have enough time to publish another notice for
Yeah.
another public hearing if you want to hold.
Okay.
Okay,
But what's fresh, right? I mean, what's fresh?
No, I'm not trying to rush it.
It feels like, wow.
this has been happening now.
It's 3 years old.
This
No, that's
particular,
the process behind the scenes, the surveys perhaps.
no, this particular one happening.
We're going to close the public.
In the second.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do that now. So would somebody care to make that
I'll
motion?
make a motion.
Bob, second.
I'll second.
Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks again, everybody.
Yeah.
We have a lot to get through yet.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You as well.
Just want to say hi.
Personal,
I'll be
Dominic.
presenting Saratoga at
Dominic.
their association
My dying.
towns in New York. Not the New York one this time, I'm skipping. I just wanted, I should have directed it out. Yeah, I know they can hear me. No, but thank you. Yeah, no, I couldn't tell that it was 3 different parts, but I couldn't find your.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
Why was, so I was trying to love to see how the parts will split.
So-
But thank you so much.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
I'll probably see you. Sure.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Good, everyone.
There's a happening
Okay,
right now.
Danielle,
So,
you want to come up?
Gary, just looking like that.
Done.
Good night, thank you. Bye. Guys.
Okay, how are you?
My recognition meeting is rescheduled for tomorrow. It will, be at the park. Our senior program, our seniors took a trip to the Civic Center and had, 32 registrants. They had a great time. The band was fantastic and the food was good as well. The,
Just 1 second, Danielle. Jeff,
Yes.
you feel you have to go, just go ahead, okay? You know you have to get the meeting bell. Okay,
The bid package was presented from Bodie's office to Dutchess County. It was accepted and approved by Dutchess County. So I'd like to get approval from you guys to put a bid for the grant so that we can start getting things rolling on our new building.
I think that's appropriate. The big package was included.
Mhm.
I didn't know that till teenage.
right. Just pull that shut, Joe.
You want to shut down?
Why not?
Yeah, I didn't know that outdoor shot.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
The grant,
So,
Bodie presented it to Dutchess County approved it.
right,
We're ready to roll on it. I just need approval from you guys so that Chrissy and I can start the bid.
we should do it then.
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Do we need a
So we
motion for that?
I would-
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Maintenance and update, the new ramp.
Yeah, it's
Did a
beautiful.
great job.
He really did.
Nobody's falling through it.
Oh, I didn't even see it because I went around today thinking that it was still had the, oh, that's great.
The permit is still open. There's one thing to be done and then we'll get our permit closed. for
What?
that.
What needs to be done?
On the outlet,
The GFCI service receptacle for the air conditioning place needs to be replaced.
okay.
Okay,
fall soccer, last Saturday was our last. Even though the weather was a problem, everyone had a great time. Our Warren McMillan Award for the sixth grader with the Outstanding Sportsmanship Award went to Harvey Ryan. This decision was made by coaches, referees, and commissioners. Congratulations to Harvey.
Oh, that's so nice.
Basketball registration, we currently have 72 registrants thus far. We will have a coaches meeting and games will begin in January. Holiday programs. On Saturday, December 2nd is our new program. I hope you all can attend. We're lighting up the park. We have 10 artificial trees that will be decorated by different businesses in the area. We'll have play and crafts for the kids. The high school band will be there performing and hopefully some other musical.
What time?
School 4 to 7 on the 2nd.
It's December 2nd.
That's correct. So far, the following business have agreed to decorate: Juniper, Mecac, Trotwood Farm, Barrett Bookstore, Arona's, Michael Schultz Electric, Reardon Briggs Hardware. So we have a few trees left.
Danielle, how is that working? The NBA Center, I noticed that they're decorating trees along for Franklin Ave. Is that the same thing? Or?
No.
Okay, that's a different.
No,
That's the parade of
those are the
lights.
different trees.
Oh, that's for the Parade of Lights. Okay, that's not, what we're doing is in the park.
The NBA was requesting volunteers to put lights around
Okay,
those trees that are lining.
That the village
Okay.
puts on.
But this is inside the building. It's going to be like a
oh, great,
holiday land
great.
extravaganza, as one of the board members describes it.
They really wanted to call it that. And then Friday, December 8th is our gingerbread house and Santa meet and greet.
Great.
very nice.
Parade of Lights.
No, Parade of Lights is the first.
Okay.
And then I think the park is the second.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to do it the day after.
Thank
Good.
you.
Awesome. No, thank you very much. Yeah.
Can I say three things before I leave?
Sure,
I have
sure.
a town board meeting in Unionville tonight that I have to go to. That's why I'm leaving.
Yep.
I think the highway superintendent's been talking about scheduling a special meeting with Colliers, so he mentioned a few dates to me that were generally good for him. That AKRF contract, if you wanted to approve it tonight, you could. If you want to wait till December, you could, it's up to you. But they did change that paragraph.
Yeah,
They
I saw that.
added the annual provision. That was the change
Good.
we want.
Yep.
And then for the assessor.
Right, Jeff, sorry to interrupt you, but Chrissy has who's got a copy of the contract with the revision?
Everybody.
Oh, you did, okay.
You all should have.
Okay,
Okay. And then I need to prepare a resolution of introduction for local law to change the income levels for the
Right,
disability exemption, senior exemption.
Right,
I will do that for December.
okay,
You can hold the public. Yes, and happy as well, yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And you could introduce it in December, hold a public hearing in January and adopt it in January. And that's plenty of time to meet the deadline
right,
for the change.
okay.
All right,
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeff.
good.
Yes,
Happy Thanksgiving to
you as well.
two.
happy union.
Thanks for coming out.
everyone. Two big matters there.
Oh, I'm sure. The fun has only begun down there.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night, Danielle.
Thank you.
James, you want to give us a report?
Sure, as quickly as possible, hitting just the high points.
Yep.
October, 51 inspections and site visits on the building side, 9 building permits issued, 4 renewed. There were only 14 expired permits at the end of that month, 1 fire inspection, still a few of those to catch up on. 2 stop work orders issued, 1 of those was already resolved, 1 of them is gonna be an ongoing matter. 1 compliance order remedy was issued in regards to a previous complaint on unregistered vehicles. That's still ongoing, but the property owner is being much more cooperative after that.
Right.
And 1 collapsed, a partially collapsed building was finally removed off of the Shunpike.
Huh.
Zoning, 3 municipal searches, 3 FOIL requests, 5 site visits, 3 complaints, 2 of which are closed out, 1 of which is ongoing and related to an ongoing building matter anyway, so that's, again, it'll be a while to resolve that. And then what was that? Oh, right, a site visit having to do with that existing open violation. So that still be ongoing for a while too.
Do you want to tell them the big news, James? My pool fence has been jammed. I think, well, I haven't gotten the official paperwork yet, but I think that it's past inspection.
Yes.
Okay. No, oh my God.
Do we have a candle lighting ceremony?
I'm so proud of you.
James,
James, I have one
Took
question
a long time.
on expired permits. We seem to always have quite a few of those. That's just where the construction just didn't finish in time, or they didn't start it in time, or what, how does that, I mean, do they have to pay to renew the permit?
So
Yeah.
building permits is a number that will fluctuate dramatically month to month.
Right.
It's typically just the permits I know about that are in the computer system. So permits that have been filed since roughly 2011 when we started computerizing the system. Some of them are permits that were started, never completed, and people just walked away from and have done nothing about. And we've been sending them angry letters to varying degrees for years on end and getting a certain amount of responses. Some of them are cases where a final inspection is needed and the homeowner is out of town for those 2 days and I need to show up the day after it's actually expired because that's the only time they're available.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's permits that we find in the physical files that have been expired because of a variety of reasons. A lot of permits were just never properly closed out or addressed. There may be nothing wrong. So in those cases, no one has to pay to renew it. It's just getting closed out because we forgot to mail them something in 1992. It's a case where they need to renew the permit, get an architect to come in and prove that what they built was built to the code at the time in the case of, say, an addition or a full house.
Okay, thank you. Perfect answer.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Night.
Lisa,
Oh.
come on up.
Okey-dokey.
Come on down.
Down.
right, so, you want me to go through each bullet on here? I usually don't, but you want me just to hit on things? It's just kind of routine stuff, working on permits. We worked, spent some time cleaning up some forestry, files, we're working on exemption mailings, so, and one of them is related to some of the forestry cleanup we were doing. We're actually doing kind of an audit between agriculture exemptions and forestry, requesting soil and water to delineate the forestry area because we found a few that had overlap. So, which I don't think we've ever done before, but interesting to see what ends up coming up.
What kind of number is that, Lisa? How many do you think? All in that category
That could have overlap or have both.
that you're doing right now, how many of those?
44.
44.
Yeah. So 4 of them are Fisher forestry, and then the other 40 are just regular forestry exemptions. So that might be fine. But I found 2 of them that overlap. Not huge, but still, we want to just make sure that that's a little project we worked on the side, and so we're getting ready to mail those out this week, and then the rest we're prepping and we'll mail them out. We don't like to mail them out too early because otherwise people set them aside and make it long. There's a lot of exemptions to go out. It's, fully exempt. We have the agriculture, the seniors, disabled, so so a lot. We send them out in phases, so they're all done by the end of the year. And then we discussed the legislation, pending legislation, relative to seniors and disabled. The other one was the reciprocal agreement with Unionvale, relative to sharing the services of the VAR on an as-needed basis. I haven't heard anything on that. I will follow up. That was kind of Betsy's thing, which I know he's put on there.
Well, we could follow up with Jeff.
Yeah, right. I didn't do that because I was more concerned about the timing issue with the
Right.
exemptions because that does have a deadline, whereas the other one doesn't so much. But yeah, I should probably follow up with Betsy too and see if this is something she can get in before the end of her term.
Yep.
So, oh, and then the other thing is the equalization rate. It's still very early, but I've already seen some preliminary numbers. Prices are still high. It's a supply and demand issue. The supply is very low. And so, people are willing to pay. So and that's what dictates that equalization rate.
The home sales.
The prices people are paying. Absolutely. Yeah. So fingers crossed, it'll only be a tiny bit, but I hear talks of the tide turning in other areas, but I don't see it happening in our area yet. So it's, some of we have a property that just came in the market for almost $30 million. I don't know if you're aware of that property, which property that is. And I just some of the numbers are just crazy. They're just very, very high. So we'll see, what happens, but.
Because it's not in the market for that. But
That's
correct. But remember the Johnson estate was a really high number and it sold I think for 7.
Like 20, right?
Yeah.
I think, and it ended up selling around 12, I believe.
Oh, I thought it sold for 7. Maybe.
No.
Okay.
No.
I heard 9, but
No,
it's all hearsay.
You did probably.
Yeah, I thought it was around,
Is the one on Butts Hollow
That's also in the market for
22?
Yeah.
Right.
Properties on
Ellenberg.
Oh, Ellenberg. Yeah.
And the one on Woodstock, 28 million.
Right.
What about the tax? Don't we get taxed? The county gives us, what is that real estate tax that for the
transfer tax?
The transfer, we were concerned about sales of us not getting that. And did we anticipate for that in the budget?
Yes, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I lowered it.
Because
Like
I think the market is.
For instance, that property on Woodstock Road that's on for sale for some crazy number. And it's assessed at, what is it, 4 million or 5 million?
Well, the full market value is about 5.7, I think. That's what I have it on as full market value. So assessed values in the 4s, I believe.
Wow.
that the one next to the gun club?
Mhm.
It's got a winery.
But that's a separate parcel.
There's a whole bunch of amenities up there that would be
Yeah,
very attractive
no.
to a buyer.
I mean, it's just a disparity there. It's just
Yeah, it's not,
ridiculous.
but it does not include the property we're thinking of that has the winery. That's the property to the left.
I asked a real estate agent last week, I was talking to him on the subject, I said, how many properties typically are for sale in the town of Washington? He said 0.009. And I said, well, what of those properties, what's the going rate? He says anywhere from 7 to 8 figures. Every one of those properties.
Really?
Said there's no small properties on sale anymore.
Hmm.
And if they are, they're stocked up very quickly. Very quickly. And
Well, we
he
only
also
find an
said
apartment
people
building will all move in.
refinanced when it was 5%. And they decided we're staying and we'll fix up the house that we're in. Now the market is sitting 8% on mortgage rates. And
Yeah.
people just can't do it. There's no startup homes in this town anymore. Where a young couple of kids might move in. There'll be one on a horseshoe in a month. It'll go in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so startup home is a $400,000.
That guy, the guy that bought Mary Alex's place, what is he renting that for? How much
3500.
a month?
Mhm. And people are willing to pay rather than raise it.
Yeah. Well, because of interest rates.
Interest
Yeah.
rates, yeah.
Just hearing that now. And he has a renter?
What?
And he has a renter?
Well,
We don't,
I don't know.
so, no, not yet.
I thought it was still listed.
It's
Yeah, I
just
think
on
it's
the
still
market.
listed.
Okay,
It's still on.
Crazy.
wow.
Anything else?
Quick question, the senior and the disabled exemptions,
Mhm.
currently, what's the rough numbers on those?
How many we have?
Yeah, how many
Oh,
people
boy.
disabled?
Disabled is less than 10, I believe.
Okay,
Um,
and
the
seniors?
seniors changed a bit last year. We actually have several that fell off. I would say in the 20s, maybe. We were in the 30s.
Good.
But that will go up.
Well, we're aging too.
Right,
The
but we-
community's aging
Changing
out.
the limits is gonna make that number go up too.
And some of those aged people passed away. Young people come in and buy their houses. Unfortunately.
It's, yeah, with the limits that we've had, it's hard in this area for people to qualify,
Mhm.
the big limits we've had.
Yeah.
Cause they're low, so we will have more people that will be able to qualify once we change limits, so. but I don't know how many I anticipate though, it could double. It could
And is there a
double.
timeline when people have to apply between certain dates or?
Oh, actually, the deadline is 3/1 for all of them.
March.
Yeah, March 1 always, yeah.
So Chrissy, we should, once that goes through, we should make sure that people are aware of this much first.
And the information that we need from the village, where does that stand?
Oh, boy. Well, we did get permits and, certificates, about 2 weeks ago, but no procedures for going forward. I actually, I emailed back and forth on that.
I can comment on that.
Okay.
So I went over and I chatted with Sarah today,
Oh, good. Okay.
and I understand she's, according to her, you should be up to date with the village with all their permits.
Right, we know that, yeah.
Right. It's the protocol going forward that we're concerned about, so
Okay.
that we don't keep getting
So-
into the same.
Moving on with what I was going to say.
Mhm.
She explained that there is a new procedure coming in January that digitally, and you would be able to download if that, like, from January on. Like, as soon as the permit is up,
Issued, oh,
that you would be able to get it downloaded.
Well, that's great.
Where it emails it to me? Or
Uh,
where we have to go
Or you
in?
can go on the site and download
As
it.
long
Yeah.
as administratively, doesn't
Yeah.
become a problem for
Yeah.
us.
Right,
Does that make sense?
yes, it does. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's how she
I-
stands right
I don't
now.
wanna have to like go into all
Yeah.
these folders and
No.
there's gotta be
Yeah.
like an easy way to.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
so that's where she's is right now with it. And that's, she's
Okay.
trying to get that done, you know.
Is she the building inspector? She's the person who issues the permits there?
No,
No.
She's the clerk,
yeah, the village.
the village clerk?
Mhm.
Cause I was thinking maybe like the first of the month, it's just in someone in the assessor's office calendar, just to email them and say, what
Right,
permits have you issued? And if they can email them to us and you can just
Yeah.
click to the link, that would be good.
Yeah, so I understand, like, once the permit goes in and then, their zoning board, or,
Building inspector.
building inspector, Ken McLaughlin has to approve that, and then she can just put it on and for people to download it.
Right.
That's great.
See,
So that's,
Yeah,
that's where she stands right now with it.
Right.
And let's see how that works out, but that's what she's trying
So
to
mark
get
your
accomplished.
calendar for January
She's
and
trying to get that
All right.
accomplished.
Joe, is that a special, software package or just a posting?
No, I think it's a package that she wants to use.
And are we compatible with that? access?
She will make that. Yeah, yeah,
Good.
thanks for doing it, Joe.
no bother. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll keep you updated on that, and then they'll have to obviously get the rest of them to us. You know, as we
Yeah.
go forward between
Yeah.
now and when they implement
Yeah.
new.
So that she's hoping for January. So from now until January, I don't anticipate too many more.
Yeah, slow down a bit for them, so.
Winter.
Okay.
thank you. Good. Do you have anything else for us? That's it. Any
That's it.
questions for Lisa?
So I'll reach out to that team, and then, I guess we'll just kind of sit on it and there's protocol for the permits for now, see how that works out next year. And, yeah, and I'll obviously keep you updated as we move along with. Talks are usually on the equalization rate beginning of the year, so I'll let you guys.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
all right,
Thank
Yep,
you.
okay, Lisa.
good holidays.
Yep. Lois?
Okay, I'll be quick. I really don't have much.
Good.
So glad to hear.
Writing it down, it didn't seem like I did much, but, the bank reconciliation and, actually, most of them are done for October, so I just have to do the payroll and accounts payable. I provided you again with the checking account balances.
Yeah.
The transfer station invoicing, and receipts are posted. Natalie's been helping me with the billing, so it's been a great help. The monthly revenue from the justice court has been received through October. So we're up to date, on that, which is great. The building department's, October report was received and the town clerk's audit. I did wrote down much of the time, doing the budget, meetings and then the controller's office thought we were going over the tax cap, but we are not.
Was that because that person was new to the process and made the mistake of quoting that?
No, he misunderstood that the Millbrook Library tax was included in our tax.
Computation.
We've been doing that way for years.
I told him, we've been doing it this way for years. I can separate it out, but what he was like, well, he didn't even really suggest separating it out, but he didn't see that we had the revenue. He basically said they are a separate district. And that we don't, the only thing it applies to is the tax cap calculation for the state. That none of our paperwork or anything has to change. That really, we should be putting the town's levy. That we just collect, they are their own district, as I learned. They have no way to collect taxes,
Right.
so we
Right.
do it on their behalf, like fire.
Right.
So he saw the firehouse because we have it in a separate fund as a revenue and an expenditure. He didn't know that the A funds tax levy
Included the library.
the 184.
Okay.
So when I went to go onto the online state site, I'm like, well, if you're minusing the beginning tax levy, I'm not including it in our 2020. And then I said, we're not over the tax cap.
Mhm.
So, and he agreed with that.
Good.
But that
How much is our levy now on the library?
184. So I
184.
don't know when that will change. I think they have their own tax cap as well as what you mentioned to me, maybe. That's it. Mike had a question about the revenues. Why does it look like on my supervisor's report? Why we have not, we look like we're behind in our revenue.
On the general fund line.
And actually, doesn't include the highway. It looks like we still have $328,000 to be realized. The part of that is because on our revenues, we are using fund balance. It's not gonna be realized because we use that line to offset the budget. So it comes in balance. If I did not put that fund balance, it would look like our revenues are less, which they are. Our revenues are less than our expenditure because we are using fund balance. But this is a way for us to make sure that our budget is in balance. So that number is 196 of fund balance. And then we still have mortgage tax to come in. And that is a big chunk of that. So I think we're doing okay. B fund is, the sales tax is incredible. It we're way over. And the same thing for the highway, where it looks like it's not realized.
But that's
A lot of it is chips and fund balance.
right.
So, and the expenditure of the rest of the chips, but that's why it's looking a little, it's not looking true to numbers. Maybe in the future, I don't include fund balance in that, but just so you know.
No, that's good.
So
As long as you know what you're doing.
I,
You know,
Right.
Okay.
it's like,
Okay.
No, 2 months to go.
Yeah.
$350,000, where's that coming from?
Yeah, as long as we're on top of it.
Thanks, Laura.
that's it.
Good, thank you.
I have to, fill out a couple forms for Maggie, Margaret at the county. And we'll finish the budget process. She needs a copy of the budget and then I have to go online and submit our number and submit the numbers that we need for.
Okay. Thank you, Flores.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your work on that budget.
Yeah, nothing was more challenging, but, I don't know, it just seems like it was a harder task this year.
It seems to get harder every year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. Chrissy, you want to give us your?
Well, I'll just be really quick. I just wanted to thank Mike and Bob for conducting the building inspector interviews on Monday. We had John Ialongo come in for an interview and another gentleman named Will. And they went so incredibly deep into the position and scenario wise, and I couldn't have done that on my
Sure.
own. So I'm so grateful that they were,
The thanks really goes to James. 'Cause
and James, of course.
he was
here.
there and did a lot of
Kidding, yeah.
explanation and he says, I'm not the one on being interviewed today, because we were asking him more questions.
And it's also very informative for me as well. I really appreciated
Yeah,
that.
Sure.
We'll give you insights into it.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
executive session.
And Heather Harwood, she is the new court clerk. She is doing amazing. I feel like she's been here.
Oh, good,
It
For-
doesn't, yeah.
She's really taken to the job and
fantastic.
wonderful.
And Betsy was in yesterday meeting with them, and I had a chance to speak to Betsy, so she's back doing her.
Oh, she,
Just 2 months, for 2 more months.
Did you all see my email about,
Yes.
I know, did we?
No, we didn't talk about it.
Oh, I know, I was just, I don't know what the date would be, but I thought it'd be nice to have a little holiday, and we can do, since we've had some fancy parties this year, do like a BYOB thing, just we bring, and invite all the, committee volunteers and then surprise Betsy with
Yeah.
something
be nice.
Absolutely.
and thank her for her service.
Yeah.
So what, should we do that after a court night? Have it happen after a night she's already here?
It's hard. You don't know how long court's gonna run.
Okay,
It could be an hour and a half. It could be 40 minutes.
okay.
Probably have to be a separate night.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
but we can talk about whatever you
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. And then the rest of us girls are just training,
Yeah, good.
getting with the program.
Yeah, good. All right. That never hurts.
No,
Okay, thanks, Chrissy.
thank you.
Is anyone going through training right now for anything?
Not through the county or anything, just through here. Kristen is. Kristen and,
Heather.
and Heather and me. But it's,
I'm still in training.
yeah, we're all still, but it's going good.
Never ends, right?
Never ends.
We learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe. Thanks for being patient.
Chrissy, if we have, I was just looking for that letter from Susan Mancuso because I remember her sending a letter about short-term
Right.
rentals. But I don't remember any letter about hospitality.
I can look.
Yeah,
Do you remember seeing one?
recently, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
I think, I remember, I
Yeah.
think they still have.
Well, I could take a look at it.
Yeah, I think we should send the letter to Jeff.
That's a good suggestion.
You might have it. I'll just double check.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah, that way we can address or make sure that we're,
And I know Jeff was taking multiple notes.
yeah.
Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
Right?
Sorry.
Okay, Bridge, New York, I think before we get into any of this stuff, I left a little schedule for you to see. I don't know what page it is, fourth page or whatever, as how the money comes out, preliminary design. And then the ROW incidentals in 2023, I don't know why they put.
You have mine in your file there. Or
So
let's
you'll
look
see
at
how
it together.
actually
Yeah.
comes out. I talked to Jeff recently, I don't suggest that we go out, and, get a ban right now, because we don't want to be paying interest on this ban when we get into construction, which is the largest part of this process. He's gonna make a call, sometime early in the week, or maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna get him the number tomorrow, just to speak with the gal at DOT, as far as, the scheduling. The incidental, or what we call it, soft money, soft costs, is when we start the process, we're going to be using, and I believe that obviously this is a few, the fund balance, I wish Lois would stay for a minute. If possible, we're going to clarify that with the state, okay? It's sort of like chips. We pay them, we pay our bill, we get, paid back. So we don't need a large amount of money until we get to the construction
Mhm.
costs, which are going to be somewhere in 2025. And they may go on until 2026. So Jeff and I are gonna work that out. And then come to you, however it's appropriate to do. Obviously, he's gonna make that call. I think it's a ban that we'll probably be taking, but it's not necessary to do it right now to alert the bank, yeah?
Yeah, I talked to David Fountain the other day, just to
Yeah.
give him a heads up,
Yep.
and
And
I said,
what
fine,
you're
you
looking
know.
for, and I'm not sure yet, I'm talking to these people, but we do have another town that we're gonna be, touching base with tomorrow that is just on the end of one project from several years ago. And we'll see, get some insight from them.
Okay.
As far as meeting with, the engineer, Monday, the 27th, day or night. Night on Tuesday, the 28th, or night on Wednesday, the 29th.
Repeat 28th again?
Night. At night, on Tuesday, the 28th. They're available,
Well, you said, oh, that's Tuesday.
yeah, on Monday, they're available day or night. Okay? Tuesday at night and Wednesday at night.
How much lead?
Jeff is not available Tuesday night. And so they're not available.
So
Jeff
Monday,
Battistoni.
so Monday night would be like what, 5:30 plus or minus? Is that,
That's
is that,
Monday.
what he was, is that what he
5
was?
o'clock, I guess,
5 o'clock.
whatever you guys decide.
Five is
I'll
better.
get it back and see if they can make it by then.
Did we shoot for Monday?
So the 28th is out because Jeff can't. be
Yes.
here. Yeah,
What's Monday's date?
Monday,
27th.
27th.
I can do that.
I can do that.
As of this month?
Yes.
Yeah, so 27th at 5:30. If you want, we'll try at 5:30.
Right.
Is everybody good with that?
Yeah,
I'm good with 5.
the only, well, I
I
guess. the
can't
only
make it.
question-
I'll be flying in that night. I won't get back to Millward till 10 o'clock.
Okay.
But that's okay. You guys can meet. If everybody else can meet.
So, Jeff needs to be here. Why?
Oh, I definitely want to.
You want him here?
Yeah, yeah, I think. he-
That explains that.
This is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm telling you right now, what I've seen so far, hundreds and hundreds of pages, we're not,
Mhm.
and what I was told by the person from the town we're speaking to briefly is that this is the easy part.
Mhm.
The first part is the easy part. When you get.
Paperwork is, yeah,
It is gonna be overwhelming.
I
It's
know.
gonna take sort of all of us to be,
I can handle the paperwork. I've done it. Believe me.
well, that's good.
I'm
So,
telling you.
we'll be forward.
There'll be a lot of it
Yes, there is.
and I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
all right, so the 27th,
27th, we'll shoot for 5:30, is that what
Okay,
we're saying?
5:30. I'm lost on that.
Yeah,
How long do you think it'll take them to present what they're gonna
I
present?
don't know how many times I can stuck it.
It's
but
basically
that's all right.
what your question-
Questions
They're not
are-
gonna tell you anything about funding. They're not gonna,
No,
they're not
but
gonna help you out with that at all. You're looking, you already have this.
Yeah.
Okay, their proposal,
Yes.
okay? Actually, this is the Old Sullivan.
but are they gonna go over everything with us? Like
Well, what?
where they're at right now?
So,
Well, they're not at anywhere, you haven't hired them.
No,
Not
but I mean,
anywhere. So I think what you're asking for is procedurally.
right,
How it works.
right.
yeah,
And this is some indication here as per what happened
Yeah, yeah,
during the
yeah.
course of the year and so on.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay? So, anyway, so I don't think it's gonna take a long meeting unless
So
you're
they-
gonna have a
I don't-
million questions.
no, right.
I'm not aware of.
And then they'll, in their proposal, they, want plans to be let in, did I read it right? December of 24?
For,
To let the plans, like they will get plans together and then they will put them out to bid in December. Did I hear that? And then construction goes on in 25
yeah.
from May to,
Construction
so yeah.
starts, and I say this with great caution.
Tongue in cheek.
Construction starts, according to this schedule,
Mhm.
12/25.
Right, so yeah.
So, or it is up to 12/25.
yeah.
So I,
But there, it's gonna, I'm telling you now, I can almost tell you this is, we're going into 25, late 25, 26.
you feel that? Why? Jeff?
Well, there's, we're sort of behind right now. They
Yeah.
got this to us late. We
Yeah.
started 4 months late. Usually these things come out in April.
So,
From
yeah,
January to April.
Yes.
Okay, they're awarded. We got it in July.
yes.
So now.
But if they can take a year to get us plans and we can put it out to bid by the end of 24.
Yeah,
The
no, I think
construction
that's the
season,
sequencing.
the construction season, you
I
will
think
go
that's
better.
the sequencing.
That Jerry Sargent was.
So that's good, okay.
He'd do
You
it.
know,
Yeah,
we
good.
might make it, but I'm never up.
We could probably do it ourselves.
That's a good thing, John.
Yeah.
You don't,
All right, you also have, just to overwhelm you, Colliers delivered their deliverables, for, Killorn Road. Okay, if you have a copy, I don't know if you need, we have copies upstairs. If you didn't get one online, I think Kathleen put it out there for you to,
No, I didn't get it.
okay.
Oh,
They're
upstairs.
Okay.
like upstairs with Kathleen or not in, like, there's no, we don't.
I
have
think she
mailbox
put it
upstairs.
online. I think she put it online.
Oh,
You
okay.
can pull it off online if
Okay.
you want to read it, but,
Yeah.
What's on the website, you mean?
Huh?
On the website?
Yes.
Let me see.
are there hard copies? John?
Yes,
There are.
well, you have one. You took one.
Well, that's the plans that you gave.
Okay, it's right here.
Oh, you took the plans. Okay. Now
I
we
didn't
have,
take the,
we have a hard copy of the Killorn,
Oh, no, I've got the bridge. I don't,
survey,
the survey, the traffic study and.
No, I do not have the
Fine.
plan. I just
The
have the,
traffic study, I guess, is what I'm looking at, because I have the, plans of the,
Yeah.
survey.
Yeah.
I have that.
55
Yeah.
on the northbound lane
Yeah.
today, it's 62 on the south, I can't remember.
All right, I'll check.
As well.
Yeah.
All right, another, so truck number 7, 2010, 46,000 plus miles. It's the one we had to rebuild the engine. It cost us $26,000 to do. It's a dump standard. During the course of its travel with that engine in the condition it was in, before the report, the entire exhaust system is compromised with, I'm assuming, antifreeze. It needs to be changed.
That's the result of when the engine was
Correct.
bad,
Correct.
but the engine's
Which
running
is
okay.
fine. Which is fine. The,
Does it have a catalytic converter or? just-
oh, I know it's expensive to do. The question is, it is a 2010. It does not have four-wheel drive. I don't know why it was purchased without four-wheel drive, but it was.
What kind is it?
No,
International?
no. It's a dump standard, but we don't plow with it because
It's
well,
two-wheel drive.
vapors without four-wheel drive. I was thinking about, after talking to John, we were thinking about auctioning. It's 14 years old, really.
Is it running okay though? I mean, it's
Oh, no, it smokes up.
because of the antifreeze in the exhaust?
Yeah. Now,
Hey, drill some holes in it and drain it out?
There's a lot of things you could
You
do.
could weld it back up.
But, so, changing that entire exhaust system, you're gonna add another $13,000.
Is it a vertical that goes up or is it
Yeah,
horizontal?
Horizontal, then, obviously it goes up at the end.
I mean, it goes up the side of the cab like
Yeah,
a big truck?
Yeah, big truck.
Okay. Anybody call like a fabricator, like,
It's very expensive to do, Charlie looked into.
he did?
So,
Even fabricating it, not buying the stuff from International?
you know what? I don't know if he did that. I
Okay,
think the question is, it's probably a good time to start your program.
yeah,
We got a
5 years.
14-year-old truck, it's damaged. And I may ask you to help with this, but I was thinking of listing it at $40,000. Okay? I'll look into it, see what book is, all that stuff. But they really don't have a lot of that on a truck that's being pounded on dirt roads and stuff.
right.
So,
So I agree with you, what you're saying.
yeah,
And if it's smoking and stuff, you're gonna get a buyer that's gonna say, well, I don't wanna mess with
well,
it.
see, that buyer, not being a municipality, running it somewhere other than maybe on a road, I think, and he can modify that
Yeah,
any way he wants. I can't do that.
I would make one quick suggestion, if Charlie could just pick up the
Sure.
phone and call Northeast Muffler, see if it's something they would handle.
Yeah,
Cause they have pipe bending machines up there that bend pipe like this big. And they make, they make big truck exhausts, little, hot
Yeah.
rod exhaust
I can do
systems.
that. I can
They
do that.
fabricate stuff and it's not that expensive. Again, I don't know what you're looking at. The guy might say, well, no, I don't touch those.
Here's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Here's what I'm looking for. And I want to get these other trucks on. I want to get this auction done. So what I'm looking for is how can we condition this approval of allowing me to sell the truck? Can we condition it on calling them, the fabricator, and getting a price that we could live with? Do you have anything in mind? Or do you just prefer that
All
I
right.
take this and put it towards a new truck?
So the end goal is you want to start the program of getting a new truck, right? You
Well,
want to
yeah,
get
I
rid of this
definitely
one
need a dump
and you
truck.
want to get another dump truck.
Yeah.
You want to get a dump truck that you can use. So if we make the necessary repairs, fabricator or whatever, how much would that cost
Well, this
versus
is
how
what I'm
much,
getting at, but I
how
don't
much
wanna
we
come
can
back-
auction it?
I don't want to come
How
back
much
to
are we gonna
the
gain
month
with
from
that?
Now, I want to get the auction.
Exactly. How much, do you see what I mean? Is one gonna offset the other? Are we gonna not get enough? I mean, that's
I don't
what
know
we
the
have
answer.
to.
I have no idea what the answer is.
Exactly. So
So.
You wanna dump-
I know that it's gonna be 10,000 plus to do the most.
Right, if we put it out to auction and we sell it,
No. Well, you don't have, no.
What are we
you don't
gonna-
have to- just a minute.
what are we
You
gonna
don't
use?
have to sell it. If you don't realize what you want for it.
Right,
If
no, I
you're
know.
not satisfied, you don't have to sell.
Right,
So let me ask a question then, Joe. If what Bobby's suggesting and you go with that, and we were to do that, does that extend the life of that automobile or that truck?
What do you mean?
no, I'm
Right now,
saying,
you got
no,
a 20
Mike, you
2010?
misunderstand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think he's, yeah,
What's the age of the truck
he's 14 years old.
and what's the mileage on it?
Almost 50,000.
So if you invest more dollars in it now, how far out?
Oh, God, I have no idea.
But,
I mean, they break down, you know,
so
all the time.
are we
I
looking at rolling it
Remember
back?
we talked, remember
We
we
talked
talked
about
about
whatever
the
year it is,
12
roll
year
out.
period?
Right.
Roll them out.
This is a candidate.
it's a.
Like what I'm saying, what I was saying, does it pay if we could get the exhaust fix at a reasonable price, more reasonable, $10,000 or $12,000? If you can get a pipe bending guy to replace it for a couple $1,000s, would that pay? And then get more money for it when you go to sell it?
What would?
And what are we gonna use?
Right.
If we sell it, what are we gonna use in its place?
We don't use it at all. Nobody's
He just
driving
got
that truck.
finished saying.
Oh, you don't use
Doesn't
it?
want to use it because
What's
it's
that
not
story
four-wheel
about?
drive.
Oh, okay.
We just gotta jump. it.
So,
You can't-
so we don't have to buy a replacement, I guess.
I mean, you can drive, I shouldn't say that. You can drive it in the summer with the windows down.
Auction.
But it's the truth. But you can't drive it with the windows up in the winter.
Yeah, gotcha.
That smoke's coming in.
So we rebuilt the engine for $26,000.
And nobody knew that the entire thing was compromised.
Yeah,
So, you know,
so you got it done.
so you got it done. So you got it done.
So if we auction it for 40, we cover our expense on the engine and we get rid of
More
the
than
truck,
cover that.
and we get rid of the.
How much? 40.
40,000.
He thinks he can get 40 at an
It's
auction.
it's a medium duty truck. It's big.
A lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
I
The
might forget it,
the
but-
new one's
I might
100,000.
forget it, but it's 100.
Like a lot of money.
And we don't have to replace it with a new one. This is just getting rid of it because it's not working.
Oh, no, I don't necessarily need to replace it right now, no.
No.
I'm just looking to replace it. I need its own truck.
Yeah.
That's really down the road. Yeah. Hopefully, what do you hear the next? Hopefully, I was thinking this year, I figured out, but our 3,500. All.
Before you go to the 3,500,
Good.
what are we doing with the one he wants to do? Are we gonna auction it?
Get a price on it. Just make one phone call to
All right.
Northeast
I'll
Muffin.
make a phone call and then
Ask him
I'll
if-
have to come back to you because you have to do this at a meeting.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do this. At
Oh,
a
no,
meeting.
no.
The Colliers meeting on the 20,
Yeah, well, I can do it by then.
Yeah.
I can do it by then, all right?
And have one of your next truck.
before we know it.
Your 3,500 that was ordered, that we got a great price on through the OGS. It's been canceled. All of the OGS trucks, this is how he explained it to me, I'm still in shock. GM has canceled.
Wow.
What, I'm sorry, what does OGS stand for?
The
Office of General Services.
It's,
That's
it went out to the state for the first time I've ever done. Because I used to do the Onondaga,
Mhm.
get good prices, which is all right.
Wow.
So now they've been canceled by General Motors.
Wow.
Can't build them or,
Strike.
oh, the strike.
I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
Whatever
I'll bet you.
he could provide, I didn't want to hear.
They
So-
can't meet their
He
deadlines.
told me that I can stay with it. And I might get it in the fall. So, can I keep D6 and D5 running? I think so, maybe. But I don't think it's gonna show up.
If you were to go to your typical purchaser, what do you think the outline would, or the
The
time,
difference?
the time?
Well, no, here's your only option. I gotta tell you, the only option you have is you go find 3 trucks that are on site and get a good price for each one. Get the best price you can. That's all you got. That's all you got right now.
What do you think?
There are trucks, they told, I think it's Clinton buying a new dump truck, they said it's 2 years away. Maybe.
So you don't believe there's trucks on lots that you can even go look at?
Yes, no, I believe there probably is.
Where?
Don't know.
Well, I
Well, you
found
have-
one, but that was when I started the process, I'm sure it's gone now.
Joe, just,
Rugi's in a Dodge or whatever, I don't know what that was, it was a Dodge over there. There's one at, I think there's one at Romeo.
Somebody said Romeo's got a bunch of them.
Yeah,
up
they,
there.
Romeo's got them. So, but you know, this is the way the town, I looked that used to buy them, they just get free prices and buy them. Well, what I've been trying to do is go on the state bid
Mhm.
to get these good prices. Look what happened to me. But
well, Joe, let me ask you a quick, let me just
Yeah.
ask a quick question. Is it, it's a cabin chassis and we put a body on it?
cabin chassis,
Utility.
no, well, this one, cab chassis and body.
With the body, right?
Yeah, they have somebody else put the body on. it.
Yes, right,
Yeah.
okay. So let's put it this way. I know Joe Romeo very well. And, I could give him a call, and if he's got one that meets our specs, and maybe he'll give us a good price on one. I don't know.
Well.
Should I get a price
you
and
can
just
do-
get it?
All right,
I mean, we'd have to
You-
put
you
it
can
out to
do
bid,
all
I
right.
imagine.
Look, you need three prices according to your
Right.
law,
Right,
okay, your policies and procedures,
right,
okay? You need three prices.
right.
Do we go out to Romeo or whoever and get prices in a retail atmosphere? However, some of them do municipal pricing, Romeo doesn't, okay? Some of these agencies do municipal pricing. I would look to those agencies to try to go there, see if they got, call them up, whatever, see if they've got a truck that fits the need, and then have be bid.
Right. Well, as far as Chevy and Dodge, our guy over here could have Tanner maybe do a locate and print them out.
Yeah.
So we know where they're at.
Whatever. Ford canceled last year, I was told. Wow. You think they would have told me that?
Well, they also.
Let's go through the process, if you don't mind. I'll do it if you want. I'll touch base with you guys. But let's go through the process so I have something to look at. Who knows? Maybe I can get through the damn winter and this one will pop back up. I'm not gonna cancel it. You know, I don't have to cancel it right now. I can stick it out.
Okay.
But if we find something which is reasonable compared to the price we got, which we won't, it was 64,000.
You know, I would sit tight on those orders, Joe, because I have a feeling they'll build those things.
If that's your opinion, that's fine with me.
Not if the strike is over.
Huh?
Strike is over now, right?
That's a hell of a lot of orders.
They're striking in Sweden.
And-
Canceled, boy.
And I only say that because
You think they're gonna work harder now that they got 25% more?
Within 4 years, 25% raise,
yeah.
All right.
25% raise in 4 years.
You can grab anything else, you guys. I don't think so. So we're looking at the 27th, 5:30, right?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and no snow this year, right?
Actually, I read pretty much the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But that's just. I'm gonna depict the weather pattern, good luck. All right,
Thank you, Joe.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Who's next, Mike?
We had a very good meeting yesterday on short-term rentals. Jeff is working up the third draft number 3. We resolved a number of issues. We are hoping to have it within the next couple of weeks or a week or so that will go just to the board for review. And then using one of these special meetings, which the board will be present, so therefore we can present it. And at that meeting, we can schedule a public hearing thereafter. So that committee work has been completed.
So it would be like a workshop for just the town board.
No meeting. You will receive a copy that you can look at prior to, at one of these special meetings. I will ask you to accept it. By accepting it, we then have to schedule a public hearing.
So which special meeting are you talking about? Like
Whenever he can,
27th?
when he can tell me that he's already finished getting it ready and getting it out to you. I want you to view it before we have whatever special meeting we're doing it
So
at.
we're gonna call a special meeting.
No, we'll do it at a special meeting that's already going to be scheduled.
I guess that's.
You've got one scheduled already for the
27th.
27th. And then Jeff said there was another one that needed to be scheduled based on something else. What was the other issue?
Well, maybe he's,
The AKRF
The
or
AKR.
something?
Yeah,
oh, no,
No,
that we can do tonight.
he said we can do that.
So hopefully if the 27th, it's ready. But I want you to see it before the 27th,
Yeah.
and I'll present it the 27th. Otherwise, either I call a special meeting or we do it at the December meeting. I'd
So
rather
are you
call.
hoping to have a public hearing in December? Is that?
I would hope to, only because
Okay,
I would like to get it passed so that we get in the umbrella of the reimbursement
Mhm.
protocol for Granicus,
Granicus.
where if you hire them, they reimburse you for the monies that
Okay.
you spent with Granicus. But I'd like to get it done, so I'm sure we're under that umbrella, because I don't know what will happen in 24 with the legislature, whether they'll rescind reimbursement.
I mean, I asked because, you know, we have this other,
Because new people come in.
No, on the 27th, when it's presented,
yes,
there's no public anything. We then have to schedule a public meeting,
yes,
which could be December's,
yeah.
or I could hold a special meeting just for that.
Right, but I meant, you're the Granicus, you're concerned that, because right now Dutchess County
The
is
reimbursement.
reimbursing that because the legislature could change,
They could.
well, it probably has, I don't know. It hasn't actually in
No.
some,
It hasn't changed on this, but this is,
but no, I'm saying in 24, when
They
people
could
are
change
sworn
in
in, I
24.
mean,
they could if they wanted to, but I don't know if they will.
yeah. But that's your thinking.
I mean, that's a good point. You gotta get
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I want to get.
We gotta get it
I don't
done,
want to
yeah,
come out of budget.
yeah, right.
The next thing, the recreation facility options. There are some options that have been presented by Dutchess Day School. And we also have the options in the contract from the village. So I asked Danielle to weigh those. But I have an issue with the contract that I would like to discuss in executive session. Just to develop some questions for Jeff, because Jeff can't be in the executive session. So I'll discuss those there.
And I have feedback from Dutchess Day School that I can
Right.
relay to.
And then a new report under me is for the town court. And this is the monthly report for October 23rd. There were, number of traffic cases were 36 in the court in October. The number of civil cases in the court were 3, and the number of criminal cases were 4. Do you want me to move, as we move forward in these kind of statistical report, do you also want me to report on the revenue that's taken in by the fines collected by the court each month?
I think that'd be great. It'd be
Okay.
great if we could keep, if Lois doesn't mind, if it's actually onerous for her. Or maybe the clerk can
The
look
clerk
at the
will-
cost of what
So
we
I
wrote last year, so we can see what's happening with some of the new measures that we've, you know,
Yeah.
you talking to Troop Pay. and stuff like that.
36 traffic cases.
That's
So
good.
that's typically village.
It's all village
Right.
stuff.
So
But didn't we
the-
discover last year, though, that we're supposed to be getting half of that? Or no?
No.
there are percentages that go to the state.
Yeah, I knew that.
Percentage that goes to us, a percent, but most of the revenue does go because it's mostly traffic cases in the village.
Yeah.
Although the state police have been writing some more tickets. But I'll ask the court to give me on a monthly basis the revenue that's collected. She can even give me the breakdown, how much money would go to the village, how much money would go to the town. The number of criminal cases were 4. This is good. And then my last thing is,
So doesn't criminal and traffic go the same night?
no,
But civil and traffic? Or criminal and civil go the same night?
there are 3 separate nights currently for court. And the judge has the discretion to adjust that calendar. Typically, she would not put criminal with traffic, and it would be civil and criminal might be combined into
Okay.
one night. Then interviews we'll talk about in the executive session.
Okay. Leslie.
Hold on to your hats. I had
Oh.
quite a.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Might as well get it tonight, right?
Get her done.
There's 10 minutes.
I mean, my God. So the planning board met on November 7th. They had an application from Raleigh Farm. It's a lot line adjustment. They're looking to convey 15 acres to Stallion Park behind Charlotte's. And in exchange, they would have, they're picking up 9 acres of road access. So there's 2 parts to it. They decided there was no public hearing required. It's a type 2 for seeker, no county referral. So they made a motion to waive the EAF and declared it a type 2. And they passed the resolution that night to make the lot line adjustment. Since there was no development proposed and no subdivision, no new lots, they decided there was no public hearing required. I should mention too, Richard Phillips recused himself because he is a neighbor to the adjacent property at Stallion Park.
Right.
There was a public hearing for Orvis. Orvis is making an addition to its existing building and an expansion of its retail store. They needed a special permit and a variance. Both were approved, but it was sent back to the planning board for site plan approval. And it was referred to county, who decided it was a matter of local concern. They did an erosion study and lighting. They're requiring dark sky lighting. All was found to be in compliance. They opened a public hearing. There was no one present to comment. Except Howard did comment on dark lighting and discussion there. But they approved the survey drawing to be used as the site plan, and they adopted they voted to adopt the resolution to approve it as an official site plan. There was an application on the agenda for something on South Road. It was a workshop, but no one came, so they didn't hear that. And there was a discussion of the wetlands law and the changes that so Susan Meany and Emily Abrams are both on the planning board and worked with Mike. And they discussed the certain parts that there were clarifications on the reasonable alternative analysis. They redrafted that language to make it clearer. There was also questions and discussion about whether a survey would be required, depending on what was being proposed and how close the site was to a wetlands. They're going to follow back up on that. And they also had a discussion right now. People, they're trying to have everything be in public meetings and be transparent, but they don't want to have to charge people necessarily an application fee if they're just coming for a workshop to ask questions, but what they can and can't do on their property. So they're going to come up with a procedure for that.
Yeah.
So that was the planning board. The CAC met the following night on December 8th. They approved their letter responding to an application that was made to the ZBA around solar fields. And I figured you would probably be updating on that on the ZBA. There was a discussion and some questions about proposed wetlands law changes. Where did that come about? I explained that, we had gone to, as we were going through the exercise of the CPRC report, we were looking to fine tune our code where there had been issues that the CAC and the planning board and the zoning board were seeing pop up over again around clarity of wording and things like that. And that the steps that we take and that kind of to-do list that we circulated was as a result of feedback from those committees, and that Mike had done his homework and done one of the first tasks, which was wetlands law. I looked at the grid of the things that I was tasked with looking at, things like the 25% expansion and other code that is not as clear. And so I asked Pam Scott as a rep from the CAC, Emily Abrams from the planning board, and Tate Kunkel on ZBA, all attorneys. They just helped me look at the wording there to see how we can make it clearer on the different areas that were of concern to the CAC, planning board, and ZBA. So we're meeting after Thanksgiving. The CSC, I had a meeting with Joe Spagnola and Chrissy and James Finley. And Mary was kind enough to join too by Zoom to talk about our emergency preparedness, but it's around CSC work and mostly about flooding issues, where there would be flooding or could be flooding, and what we're doing to mitigate that, and what our communication systems are with our residents if there were issues. Mary did say that she thought that was something that we should update. I know we have our plan, but update it and sort of have it be a breathing, living document. So Jillian Matthews from Cornell went through kind of sort of like she did in that presentation with us on just the CSC initiatives in general on things we can look at as we're looking to our emergency preparedness. And so that's what this letter is.
Mhm.
It's sort of like what PACE asks us to send a letter. They want to get grant funding to be able to help us make recommendations on what we can do with our report.
Is that the
So
letter you mailed to her? Or you-
that's a letter that we emailed, but I changed one thing in it. They were like something about drafting content to the website. And I just said sort of at the town board's approval and discretion, like we're not, if we want to do that, we'll do that. But if not, we're not going to do that sort of thing. Because they said we can make any changes that we want. So if there's something else in here, language that you all want to change, but this is another free service that they're offering and that a lot of our neighboring towns have done. And it just, to me, it's, let's use their expertise and
Yeah.
recommendations from them. And it gives us, more points towards our bronze certification.
So you're gonna edit paragraph.
Well, I already did. On this, I took out, I put, to participate in all content provided or suggested is subject to approval by the town board. I put that at the end.
Okay.
And then there was another one that I put subject to approval. Let me see where I found it.
Some of this printing a template for flyers, back cards, postcards, disaster preparedness and information, so on and so forth. Is that going to be financially covered somewhere, or is that has to be?
Yes, no, it is at no cost to the town.
So where's the money coming from?
From their initiative. They'll provide us with technical assistance
Okay.
and we can decide to use it or not. And they have said clearly here
So if we decide to print flyers, do
that letter
back
said there'll
cards,
be no cost for the town of Washington to participate, and all content providers suggested is subject to approval. So yeah, we do not have to pay for any of that. It's they'll be providing us with the content and we can decide whether if we want to put out, have a sheet flyer if someone comes here. I think what is helpful, what a lot of municipalities do is the social media posts on like there's flooding or, telling people what's going on in the town. And then also having a chain of command of, I know we have a chain of command of who would do what, but I'm not sure if it includes, the dissemination of information to the resident with technology now, with Instagram or whatever.
I don't think we touched flooding at all. Ours was mostly evacuations,
Right.
snow emergencies.
Yeah. What about, do we have heating and cooling centers designated?
Yeah, and we had a list of, and I'll tell you who was very good at the village one and would always share with us was Mike Herzog.
Oh, great.
And particularly the availability of technicians within the town, whether they were backhoe operators or electricians or plumbers. And there was a resource list.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's
but that-
great.
he was constantly updating that and forwarding.
Yeah,
it
they
to us.
change all.
But
the
I don't
time.
believe we touched anything like natural, aside from ice storms and severe, because we brought somebody in that said, what geographically, this area up here, what would be the most susceptible to?
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about flooding at all.
Okay. Well, it was interesting because when we did just sort of the audit of and so that's why Joe was on the call, Spagnola, and James is on the call, and Mary, and she hasn't given me the final report of kind of what we have done, and not everything's applicable. Obviously, this is a document that's used by all New York State municipalities, and we're smaller and we're rural, so it's not. But she, they did know kind of the risky areas, and
It's important.
UMass would tell you the risky area.
yeah, 100%. So,
Very important.
so
We even did armament. They wanted to know where there are arsenals, where there were gun supplies and all that.
did you
kind
say
of stuff.
every single person in the town?
No.
Their house?
I started talking about that place in Pleasant Valley, so I'm out, guys. It doesn't belong to us. Completely worry about that. But no, the communication with Stewart Airfield, police departments, They considered this place,
Well,
in
that's
case,
important,
case,
Yeah.
well, here's an example,
Yeah.
in case flooding and so on did occur in New York City. This is an evacuation route. So the questions of traffic control, housing,
Where do they go?
food supply, where would there be fields that emergency, Red Cross tents could be placed up? That was all in there.
Well, there's also, and I don't think this is necessarily included in this, but I'll look at the grid and refer to it, but you know, when towns have been absorbing, it's mostly cities, but if migrants are dropped off in a bus, I mean, where do people, I don't know what we would do, you know? So those are, and I'm sure the county, maybe Deirdre can help
Some of that base
coordinate some
work
of
is in
that.
that folder.
Okay.
So you should at least have something to start with.
They don't
So
want to walk to the bathroom.
if you have any other changes or comments, otherwise, we can,
This is a go.
they're just asked if I put it on town letterhead, and then they said I can sign it as a town board member. I said, you need the supervisor to sign it. They said they just need a town board member as a CSC task force coordinator. What I forgot my title, I think that's my official title. And NRI, there's a lot of talk about the natural resources inventory tonight. The final draft is almost there. We're supposed to get it back November 17th. When we do, that'll be circulated to the village board and the town board. It was very funny. So Mike Herzog, Jen Glasson, and I were sitting in a booth, the three of us this way with my computer, because they need photographs for the NRI. And so we had residents donated photographs, and Kristen DiPiero came in for takeout. And the three of us, she's like, what are you three doing? I'm like, we were just all sitting next to each other in a booth. Anyway, so that was quite a sight. But anyway, so we're almost about to land the plane on that. And then the next step is deciding how we want to use them, and do we want to adopt them as the reference maps, which I think, based on some discussions tonight, that would be a logical next step. And so I'll ask Jeff how we do that, and we can talk about that at our next meeting once we have a draft for you all to look at. And I think that's it for me. And that's it for me. I thought it was
Right.
sorry.
All right, Bob.
I'll be real short, but first I'd like to thank Leslie for her responses to Miss Mancuso. I thought they were very good, and you kept her cool, and you kept everybody down. So
I don't know if I kept my cool, but I appreciate the feedback. I just feel like sometimes there's we do have professionals that are helping us too.
It's just sometimes you wonder, like, without offending anybody, that at the 11th hour, all of a sudden there's a problem when this is the third public hearing, right? So.
Yeah. Well, listen, as you said, which is right, we want to get it right. And so let's look at the comments and see, see how we need to address them.
Yep.
Thank you, Bob.
So the pool is drained, of course, and the pipes are all drained now, so there's no chance of freeze ups up there. I did ask Chrissy to be sure that Jonathan gets the mower service for next season, get it down to Reardon Briggs, right? You're gonna take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, but they have to look at the new truck, the cart that goes around. Do they have to check that month?
Well, that's okay this year. That'll be
Next year.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because they did use that quite a bit this year.
Did they? Yeah. I'll double check with Jonathan on that. We didn't get an answer from Jeff on whether we can, and Lois and I have been working on this, the ARPA money. If we use it for the roof, do we have to if we use ARPA money, do we need to do prevailing wage? And because we're not using taxpayer money, really. We're using like a grant money type of thing. So Jeff is looking into that because it almost cuts the cost of the roof in half almost. So really that's about it. I mean, The ramp came out beautiful.
They are working for you.
Yeah, the generators are gonna be serviced in March.
They did bring in a person to look at the carpeting for here.
Yes,
They had samples, they looked at them, they chose the sample. And Jonathan will rip this up. We'll have the dumpster in the back and then they'll be able to lay it, so they can move on that.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
thank you.
Joe?
All right, so the ZBA meeting was held on October 17th, and there were two items on the agenda. 78 South Road, a proposed garage to their house. There is a public hearing on that, and there was one comment from a neighbor in support. They wanted a 64.7 foot front yard variance. So then the public hearing was opened. There was a motion to classify as a type 2 action under SECRO. Motion passed. A motion to approve setback variance. Motion passed.
Was it 100-foot setback?
No, it was 64.7.
Variance.
Variance, yeah.
So what's the setback down there? Must be 100 feet, right?
What did I say? Setback, motion to approve the variance, so
Yeah,
I guess that was
yeah.
the 64.75
Okay.
question. So, they need to go to the planning board now for a site plan approval. And then 234 Stanford Road for their solar panel, field, the couple, presented their case. They need to go back, like this, the public hearing was postponed until November 21st. They need to get statements from the neighbors, whether they're for or against what they're trying to do. What would they call that? Where the buffer going around the field. Their proposal of what they wanted to do,
In terms of screening. 'cause there's a
yeah,
screen-
the screening, there's a screening requirement, so their proposal of viburnum, I don't know if the zoning board members really appreciated that it wasn't an evergreen. But the couple proposed viburnum because it's dense, like it loses its leaves, but the wood is dense, so it's still a screen in the winter time, which I agree with that. That privet, viburnum, or forsythia are great for winter screening as well, because even though they lose their leaves, you still can't see through it because the wood is dense.
Yeah.
And so they have to come back with that as well.
Where is this, Joe?
So this is 234 Stanford Road.
Stanford.
So again, where they proposed to put their field, if you went by from Sharon Turnpike or Stanford, you can't even see the field anyways. So,
How many
the
panels
neighbors
were they talking? You know?
don't know how many panels. No.
So I know the CAC is writing a letter with their opinion on it. I don't know what the letter says, but a couple of things that were raised to me about it. I guess some of the neighbors said that they would probably approve it because they want to be able to do it too. And so a question that I had was, and I'm not familiar with our code, I haven't looked at it on this, but do we have is a number of panels at all contingent upon how large your property is? Do you know what I mean? Because let's say, yeah, can you, because I guess, if it's not, then could we just have a situation in the future where it's like field, and do we want to have that? And do we want to look at that as part of the code? Because I know one of the things that the planning board, I forget, and I don't have the grid in front of me, that they want us to look at is that code around screening and that issue. So I just was wondering.
I
if
know
we
they
have
need
any
a setback and side yard,
Right,
to have
yeah,
rear
yeah.
yard clearances. Whether there's a limit, I don't
think there
remember.
was
I'd have to
Okay.
reread it
I don't
myself.
think there was a panel
good number of
limitation
panel limit
based
or
on the
anything.
size of it, but it was more on where it was being placed it's invisibility, it's screening.
Yeah,
If it was roofed, different, whole different
Yeah.
situation. It was freestanding. Because we were in the initial phases of it, asked by a agricultural farm owner up on over towards, Clinton Corners
yeah,
to do one out in the middle of their fields, and that didn't get approved, but I can't remember. That may have been up more near the road
yeah,
and not hidden.
yeah.
But I don't believe there was a square footage.
Thing happening in.
I
Rhode
don't
Island.
know if there was a, square footage,
Yeah,
So the neighbors,
Proportionality.
the neighbors seem to be in favor of this. They don't seem to have any objection to this particular one, but I can tell you where there was a case, and Howard might remember this.
Oh,
as
on
well,
Daheim.
Where Daheim,
yeah, it wasn't
and
screened properly.
they put it up, but because of the, wasn't screened properly, but it could have been.
Yes,
But yet the neighbors' concerns with it, where it was located, she ended up taking it down.
yeah.
and
Yeah,
that was
She
the
put,
fault
she
of
put
the
the roof
contractors.
tiles, she did the roof tiles.
Yeah.
She did the roof
Like-
tiles.
Like what
Right.
the law
I
was.
think she did the roof tiles,
yeah, right.
But that
the
was-
solar roof tiles.
That was, the
Yeah.
contractor didn't really, was upfront with her.
Exactly.
and Inform her, or even go and ask, what's the local law?
So-
So they were prepared to do the berming and the screen.
Yeah, they were, right.
And
Now, the problem there also was even if you'd have to berm it,
from the height of the road, you can still see it.
yeah, right. In other words, there was no way you were gonna berm it even with big tall trees, and then the solar wouldn't work.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's the
because it
other
would
thing,
block,
right?
exactly.
Would have blocked it, so.
But I,
So-
to your question, I don't believe there's proportionality.
She took it down.
Right, so in
I'd
this
have to look
particular
at it. I
case.
don't think there was, Harvey.
Right.
No, but I seem to remember something, maybe it was just commercial, you can't produce more than 110%.
Okay,
There was just, yes, on the amount of energy that it was
That's right,
generating.
Howard.
That was the restriction.
You're right, Howard.
So that determined the panels.
well, that makes sense. So then we don't have.
No, I know.
like sell
No, it
big
had, yeah.
swaths of land to a company that, because that's, people are trying to use those.
So, the motion was to adjourn this until the November 21st meeting with getting statements from the neighbors and, more screening, what we're gonna do about that. And that's that with that meeting.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you, Joe.
Mhm.
Okay. Howard, do you have anything for us?
Not a question, a couple of brief questions. And, okay, so the first one is when Mike turns in the report to you guys at your special meeting. What I understand about the open meeting, well, that becomes a public document at that. It's presented
Correct.
at official meeting. So will copies be available at that point?
Yes,
Okay.
we answered that in the
And-
committee meeting the other day.
Yeah, and I,
I asked the lawyer that, and the lawyer said, yes, they would make it available.
and even though our meeting isn't a public hearing, I mean, it'll be
Meeting.
posted, anyone can come.
Oh, yeah, they
For that
came,
meeting?
we had a bunch of people there.
So if you want to come on the 27th,
See, somebody
and
might-
But once that
That's it.
is handed to the board,
Adelaide was there.
then Chrissy has to
Yeah.
post it. And that gives everybody the opportunity to review it prior to the public hearing.
Mhm.
And then we made sure of that when we had our meeting yesterday,
Okay.
or whenever it was, I can't remember.
When's the December meeting? Does anybody know offhand?
It's 15th, I think.
15th, okay.
And for the other question, I'm
Very
just curious,
good.
when you're going into your executive session,
Go ahead.
Go
Go ahead, Howard.
No, it's fine, Howard.
Okay. What are you going to be dealing with? Are you dealing with hiring people?
It's personnel matters and
Personnel.
it's also, legal questions.
Because I was just curious if there are openings on, somebody said openings on the planning board and the DBA and what were those openings for? That's not what I'm getting.
Secretary.
The
Secretary.
clerk, which is a hired position upstairs.
Okay, that was all I knew.
The summer meeting's the 14th.
14?
Anything else, Howard?
No.
Okay. All right. So we're going to close the meeting and then go into executive session.
I'll make them.
Oh, yeah.
And legal.
Bob made the motion. Second to that?
Second.
Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then a motion to go to executive session.
I'll make that
So-
Thank you,
motion.
Joe. Second?
Turn off Zoom.
Leslie seconds.
Okay, all in favor?
All in it.
Thank you.
Done.